My next guest is a Northeast Nebraska native. His love for racing and cars prompted him to start Meyer Tool Service. Cam, thanks for making time to be here today.
Thanks. Appreciate being here.
No problem. I'm Zach Miller with my co-host Vance Neidig.
Nice to meet you, Cam.
And we are touching base with Cameron Meyer today. Cam, let's kind of start a little bit in the beginning, get a little history on you so the viewers can kind of, or the listeners can kind of get a little bit of background. You grew up in Pierce, Nebraska, correct?
Yep, correct.
Born and raised?
Yep, lived there my whole life.
Awesome. Did you go to Pierce High School then?
I did not. I actually graduated in 2006 from Lutheran High. So
Oh,
we
Lutheran.
went to Zion and Pierce till 8th grade, went up to Lutheran High, and from there I went to School of Automotive Machinists in Houston, Texas, which is kind of a racing school, kind of reads into what I'm all doing.
Yeah.
Went down there. That was really when the economy declined. Race teams were laying people off. So I really came back here with nothing and just started working.
Nice. So I didn't realize you. So you traveled every day to Lutheran High then? I didn't realize.
Every day.
See, I learned something new too all the time when we do this. How was that? I mean, having to travel every day and.
It wasn't too bad. We got a lot more snow days. My brother went to school in Pierce and everything. We got way more snow days than they did.
Really?
Yeah, because then everybody coming from all the towns, Battle Creek, Madison. I mean, we had people down from almost Columbus that would come every day. So we got way more snow days if it ever got any crappier out.
I guess I didn't realize that many different cities went to Lutheran High.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, there's quite a few. I feel like I want to say all the towns around here. I bet there's somebody up there.
Is that like the only Lutheran like?
Probably. I'm trying to think
High
of
school around
another.
here? Columbus has got one, right? I think.
Lakeview, I thought it was Catholic,
Oh, is it Catholic?
Yeah,
but I could be wrong.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
I'm not either. Maybe I'll have to do
Or
some
no,
research.
there's a SCOTUS.
Oh, there is a
Yep,
SCOTUS.
yep.
SCOTUS is Catholic. Lakeview would probably not be Catholic then.
So I guess, how was that experience for you in high school?
It was nice. I enjoyed the small class size. It was fun.
So you and I graduated the same year.
Yeah, you were 06 too.
okay,
Yeah. No, it was nice. A lot of my friends from Zion went up there. I mean, there was 7 of us in my 8th grade class at Zion, and 5 of us went to Lutheran High. So I had a good chunk of friends, at least, that I went up there, and there was 40-some kids in my class. It was fun. I wasn't really athletic in high school or anything, so I didn't really, like Pierce athletics, it just goes hand in hand. So I was like, we'll go to Lutheran High. I didn't really do a lot of sports or anything. I literally just started working when I was 16.
Where'd you work?
My first job was Ag and Industrial, I believe, here in Norfolk. He does machine work on blocks and stuff like that. Just shop cleanup. Just go up there. Hey, work on this side of the shop today. Hey, work on that stuff. Just basic.
So you were a mechanic from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's all you really ever wanted to do?
Yep. So my dad owns a mechanic shop, and this is kind of how I introduce myself when I walk into a new shop or talk to customers like, hey, are you familiar with Pierce? Yep, I am. Okay, well, that gas station that's right next to Napa or the fire hall there? Yeah, that's Tom Service. That's my dad. And everybody's like, oh, Tom, so I have to introduce myself. Everybody knows my dad kind of a thing. But yeah,
You're
he's
not
on
Cam Meyer, you're Tom's boy.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. So he's on that for 40 some years. So a lot of people know him, but I've been around the mechanics and side my whole entire life.
Did his love for vehicles then play a part in the path you went down?
Yeah, not till I was like 14 or 15.
Oh, so it took a while.
Yeah,
so it wasn't an
like,
early thing.
I mean, it was because we'd go drag racing and stuff like that. He's done that his whole life, but like it wasn't until I was 14 or 15 that I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to get into.
Was there ever a thought of working for him?
No, I never. Actually, I'm going to take back my first job. I remember this now. I worked at Jerry's Trailers and Campers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I worked out there. I remember that one now.
Nice.
And I never wanted to work for family. I just seen so many like inner fighting and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm like, never working for family, never doing it. So,
There's always a catch on that. Some people do and some people don't. I worked for my mom, but it was fun while it lasted.
Well, we all because she owned the car lot and everything.
Yeah.
So like, I did technically work.
You
for my
worked,
dad. I worked.
As Vance does, he gets voluntold to.
It's
a
they always
thing.
say you can't do business with family, but then again, I mean, you got to have your family. We got a lot of. I grew up on a farm, obviously, and that's a family business, whether you're really in it or not.
Oh yeah, exactly.
My dad always says he's going to double our pay. It's really easy to double zero.
Yeah.
I can hear him saying that right
He
now
does
too.
all the time.
And
Double
mom
their
works
pay.
with us now too. So I mean, it's like it's a whole circle kind of. So how did you So you went to college? You said in Houston.
Yep.
Explain. Is that like a big college for that?
So it's somewhat, no, not really. It's pretty small trade school, essentially, is what I would call it.
Love trade schools.
Yep. I'm a huge proponent of it. Obviously, with what I do every day, big proponent of that stuff. There was maybe 50, 60 kids, and they divided up. They had a morning class and an afternoon class. One was engine block, one was cylinder head. just teaching you, like literally we would build race engines, and the school literally had race cars. And some of the students would go to the races with them, work on the cars. I mean, it was pretty high performance.
And I guess not a big school, but like, was it a prestigious school for that particular vocation?
What it is now, it has really grown in. It has grown a lot. They have a lot more programs. For what it is, it's very specialized.
Okay.
There's not maybe one or two other colleges in the country you could go and do something like that.
Okay, so
it's like the Harvard of auto racing.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Yeah.
Which Harvard isn't great right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to use that.
But
So did you originally want to just work on race cars then?
Yeah, that's literally what I want to do that. And it opened up some doors and stuff like that. The problem is when you graduate in a 1-year program, you're 19 years old, and a lot of race teams, insurance requirements and stuff like that.
Well, they got to be like 22, 25?
Yeah, there was teams that don't even hire
5
anybody
years
if they're
experience?
under 30. Just because,
The trucking industry is turning into that, where you got to have at least 5 years experience to even get insured. And it's like, well, so where do you get the
How do you
experience?
get
how do you get it? It's like driving your motorcycle to the courthouse, to
Right.
get your license and everything.
So you wanted to be like on a pit crew?
Yeah, anything
NASCAR?
really. Like, so I actually was pretty fortunate. So I got out of school. We actually had, and if I, racing terms or anything, if I ever say anything technical, just let me, I can always dumb things down.
Oh, we will ask. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So in drag racing, the NHRA, they have a top fuel. It's one of the fastest cars in the world. So there was a team based out of Omaha, and through my dad, we knew some people, one of the guys from Osceola. Hey, my kid did this. Yep, we could definitely use him. So I basically, they'd call me up and say, hey, we're going to go to this race. Be down here Wednesday. So I'd go drive down to Omaha Wednesday. We'd leave to go to the races, and I was on the crew. So everything behind the engine is what I was in charge of. So the rear end gear, the wing, the tires, there's a catch can back there. That was me. I was a 19-year-old kid, and I was there.
Probably having the time of your life.
Dude,
huh?
it was great. I made decent money. They paid for everything. It was an awesome experience. I'd never want to give that up again.
Sounds like it. You're not doing any of that now though?
No. So it's just me.
Yeah. Okay. Going back to that though, how long did you do that for then?
1 season, and then the team the owner literally funded everything out of his pocket, and they just shut down. They just
No
ran out of money.
sponsorships
Yeah.
or anything like that? Mm-hmm. How long's a season for something like that?
So it'll start in February. They're probably not too far away from starting, and it'll go all the way into November. So, I mean, there's generally 23, 24 events that they're going to.
Is that traveling all the way across the United States?
Literally one side to the other. And
So were you driving with the team? Or
yeah,
were
we
you
were
flying?
driving.
Driving?
Yeah, so a lot of miles.
Yeah.
did you guys stay in hotels or a camper?
Just a hotel. It was actually kind of crazy. So there's a company that literally all they do is book hotel rooms for race teams. So the hotel we'd stay at, a ton of other race teams would be there.
Yeah.
So you go down to the bar at the end of the night, and there are 20, 30 guys sitting down there.
Chalking it up with other racers.
That's a lot like the livestock showing world. Same thing. We're all
Yeah, everybody knows everybody.
I spent a week at National Western Stock Show, and you'd go down in the lobby and have beers with the people that you were just in the yards with.
Yep.
And it's kind of your own community, and everybody.
Oh, yeah,
looks out
exactly.
for
And the
each other,
camaraderie
so
and everything
it's
like
fun.
that. It's a good time.
Was that a lot of stress for you being 19 and having all that responsibility?
Yes and no. So the team would put stress on me because doing the tires on the car, at one point in time, somebody actually forgot to torque the lug nuts on the car years before me. And it broke the wheel off. The car went sideways, went up on the wall.
That's dangerous, right?
It's dangerous,
Yeah.
super dangerous. I mean, those cars will go in the quarter mile or 1,000 feet now. They'll go.
Basically, you have somebody's life in your hands.
Yes, exactly. Being 19 years old. Yeah.
How fast are those getting then?
In 1,000 foot, they're going roughly, 330 mile an hour.
Holy.
I mean, on the starting light, sticky. You have to make sure your shoes are tight because if you're not walking, your shoes will literally pop off. It's so sticky.
Wow.
So when the cars take off, it'll actually put you back and you feel your feet move inside your shoes because there's so much force coming back at you.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine. I would never do it.
It's insane. It's the craziest
I think
feeling.
that'd be a riot.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a riot. I don't know.
But it happened
Maybe
so
10
fast.
years
It'd be,
ago.
yeah.
I'd do
Crazy.
it.
So outside of that, you didn't do any other pit crew work?
Nope. That was kind of the extent of that. I turned 21 and I just didn't really have the contacts I had when I was 19. There was some stuff going around. I just couldn't get back on anything.
So when did you first start racing?
So 2009 would have been my first year. I was 21 years old.
So it was after the pit crew stuff.
Yep. Moved back here. Just decided this is where I'm going to be. Got a
Where
job.
were you living then when you were doing the pit crew?
So I was still in Pierce.
Oh, you were still
Yep,
okay.
basically just odd jobs here and there.
Gotcha, just filling it. Okay.
Yeah, just doing stuff until they'd call me up.
Okay. Sorry.
Because no, you're good. I graduated in probably July of that year. And then
Okay.
so like July, August, September, October, November kind of a thing. I think we went to like 6 shows.
Nice.
So,
So getting into racing.
yep. So 2009, I started racing 4-cylinders out here at Riviera, and it was just kind of a whim. Like, hey, somebody's got a car for sale. It's something I want to do. So I bought a car on a Saturday. 2 weeks later, we were literally racing.
Wow.
So it was a really fast thing. And
Did you have sponsors yet at that point?
Nope. Never even asked anybody. We literally, a guy that worked for my dad painted the car, and we put it all together. And it was interesting that first night.
I think that 4-cylinder thing I've always thought would be just an absolute riot.
It was a good
Just
time.
go.
It was a good time. Compared to what I do now, though, I'll do what I do now every weekend.
What's the biggest difference? Can you explain for the listeners?
The 4-cylinder cars are front-wheel drive car, just like anything you drive on the car. The car we drove, like in the next following years, was a Chevy Cavalier. We looked for a specific model, engine, and yeah, just anything off the street, and you just put your tune-up in it, essentially, your special setup, and go race it. And find out what works, what doesn't work. I have a notebook of way stuff that didn't work and what did work.
So your dad wasn't into racing at all before you wanted to do it, as far as like racing himself?
No, he's drag raced for forever. Since
really?
he was
Okay.
probably my age when I first started racing.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what year he started, but no, he's been drag racing for forever.
Okay. That makes more sense now.
Yeah.
So how long did you do the 4-cylinder for?
So we ran a partial season in 2009. 10, 11, and 12 were full-time seasons. We race in a sanctioning body called IMCA, and that's a national sanctioning body. So I can literally take my car under their set of rules and go race anywhere in the country, anywhere. So in 2011, we really got big into that, and we went out and I think we ran 30, 40 shows probably, and I think we won 10 or 12 nights. We ended up 5th in national points. And at the end of the year, the national banquet and everything, I was like, I want to win this next year. And we found a new car, and I feel like we were ahead of technology over here. Some guys in Iowa had some stuff, and we got over here. And in 2012, we ran 55 nights. We won 34 races, and we had 15 second place finishes.
Wow.
And we won the national championship that year.
That's awesome.
And that
I
year,
didn't realize that.
Yeah. That year, that we broke a record for the most wins in our class.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Where were you traveling? Like where the furthest you went?
So the biggest one, I don't think we went into Kansas. So we even now we kind of go into Kansas, Iowa, but we probably around here we could do it a lot. We could race Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we'd go up and do Sundays. So Thursdays we would race in Columbus. Fridays were Albion, Saturdays were Norfolk, and then Sundays you have Sioux City up there. So you had 3-4 nights a week pretty consistently.
But you weren't having to travel too far for these races.
For the most part, no. I'm pretty fortunate back then. It's tougher now.
Right.
But back then, no, for the most part, we really didn't have to.
That's crazy. You were able to win a national championship just staying around.
Yeah, for the most part,
Iowa,
yeah.
Nebraska. Yeah. That's really cool. Did you, so without getting into specifics, what was the money like for winning some of that stuff? Winning the national championship that year?
So it's not the money you win, it's the contingencies.
Got you.
So like I got a free fire suit, that's $700-800.
Right.
Helmet, I can't remember what it all was, but that was the contingency. The money wasn't great.
Right.
I have a really cool ring because I have a Super Bowl ring is what I call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, but no, all the contingencies are everything. That's what makes it all worth
So
it.
you're really, I was gonna say you're really into it just for the heart of it.
Oh,
mostly.
yeah, exactly. No, there's no money to be made racing, really.
At least at that level anyway.
Yeah.
Most of the NASCAR people are more like sponsorships, right?
Correct.
Isn't that
It's
how
all
they make most
sponsor
of their
driven.
money?
Yep. Sponsorship driven. They don't release the purses on that stuff anymore, but there's a lot.
Oh, they don't?
No, you don't. Probably the last 7-8 years, we don't really know what they get paid for the TV money from the
Gotcha.
track or anything like that.
That's kind of odd, isn't it? Almost.
I don't know why they don't really post that stuff anymore, to be honest.
I thought most. I guess it's not. I don't know how they run, but that's just odd that they got rid of that. So that was all 4-cylinder.
Yep.
So walk us through moving up in divisions.
So in 2013, we decided to move up to an IMCA Northern Sport Mod. And what that is there's no front fenders. It's a 68 to 72 year Chevy Chevelle front end, and then they make a tube chassis from behind that. So it's all custom built. Literally, everything shows up in a box, essentially. And these specific builders will build it to how they want to within the set rule package that we have. And then, we've been doing that ever since, actually.
What's the biggest difference as far? Obviously, it's lighter.
Oh, yeah.
The 4-cylinders are lighter.
They're very similar.
Are they?
So our cars these are Chevy V8s is what we run. We run what I call a built motor, which me and my dad build ourselves. They weigh 2,500 pounds with me in them. Full on racing tires and everything like that. They do have a crate option, so you can actually go down to our local Chevy dealership and buy a crate motor if you really wanted to. We've switched over and choose to build our own now.
Right.
Kind of cool that way. But the biggest difference is rear-wheel drive, a lot more power. We're 400 some horsepower in a 2,500 pound car. Way more fun. There's way faster. Yep. You get a lot more. There's more adjustments. So in the 4-cylinder, you really just, there's not a lot you can work with. It's stock components, and we've figured out things over the years and everything, doing enough. But with the sport mods now, I can change something 1/8 of an inch and feel it in the seat.
Oh, really?
So I can move a bar that holds a rear end in. I can lengthen or shorten that and really feel it in the seat. And then, so it doesn't take a lot to be far off, some of that stuff.
That's crazy. I know. I'm trying not to. I don't want to go too fast through this because I'm sure we're missing stuff on the 4-cylinder stuff too. Obviously, the one you're in now is faster. Is it more dangerous because you're going faster, or do you have more around you?
No, the car's safer. I really do feel like the cars are safer. Safety's a pretty big concern.
I was just going to say, watching that 4-cylinder thing, I think that's why I think it's more fun, because it looks more dangerous to me. Like it's just kind of like, just go as fast as you can, ride the brake as you can, and rubbing's racing type of thing. The other cars, way more money rubbed into it, and rubbing happens or whatever. But you got too much more power, so you're a little more careful about hitting stuff. And I thought those 4-cylinder guys
it's a different form of racing.
Go.
Like, how fast are you going in the 4-cylinders?
Out here they're maybe going 45, 50-ish, and I'd say we're probably 60 to 70. Out here in off-road, when I say out here, off-road speedway out here, it's a smaller track, so this would be considered like a smaller 3/8. Now, McCool Junction down there, just south of York, that's a half mile. So, I mean, down there, we're probably going 90, 95 on something like that.
Is that a dirt track?
Yep, same. Yep.
So do you mostly race dirt tracks?
Yeah, it's all dirt track stuff.
Okay.
Yep. There's really only, I think, one asphalt track, and it's out in western Nebraska. So it's just not something we have around here.
Right. I didn't realize that. Is that just due to money?
I don't know. Just never took off around this area. Iowa's got a couple, but it's primarily dirt track. But you get up to Wisconsin. Wisconsin's got a ton of asphalt tracks.
Really?
And Kansas dirt tracks. It's just goofy. It's all regional based, really.
Yeah. How hard are the dirt tracks to maintain in between races, weeks, days?
So that's where really, that's where your money's made on the dirt track. It's all prep and everything like that. So each crew has a track prep crew. They'll come out, disc it up, water it, and that all kind of depends on what kind of races we're going to have. If they put a lot of water down, we're going to have what I call a hammer down, where it's easier to drive, but you're moving. You have all the grip in the world. It's like right now with all the snow on the ground, you're hitting the ice and it's tough to get going as opposed to dry stuff. There's instant grip. But when there's not as much moisture, it'll slick off, and then it's like you're literally racing on ice.
Really?
So the track prep, it really depends. And that's the challenge of what we do night in, night out on that stuff, is to try and get better on a certain type of track, which is usually dry slick around here. That's all it, just the adjustments on the car and everything. One adjustment, you could literally take you from a winning car to a 5th place car instantly.
And you said that was your guy, your specific crew? Each driver has a crew, or just the race track?
The track will have a crew, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Are
That'll
those
come do all that.
Volunteers?
Yep. Most of the guys that work on any of the circle tracks, anything around here, all volunteer work. I'm sure they're getting compensated and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, it's a lot of volunteer hours and stuff like that to put in the time and the effort, just because we all love the sport so much. We don't want to lose it or anything like that.
Right.
Without it, we wouldn't have a lot.
How many racers are there around here? In all the divisions?
So racers.
Quite a few.
Quite a few. I'd honestly say in just Norfolk on a given night, we could get almost 100 cars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's really cool. Is that from all around Northeast Nebraska?
So,
or is it?
You could have people traveling. That goes kind of back to our sanctioning body, our IMCA sanctioning body. Guys will come down from Sioux City. You could literally travel wherever. We were pretty fortunate last January, a year ago. Me and my dad drove down to Arizona, and still the same sanctioning body. So we were perfect in the rules package. And we went down there and raced with a buddy down there, a couple buddies.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you kind of just pick up and if there's a race going?
Yep.
Do you have to let them know ahead of time type of thing?
You just show up.
You just show up.
Yep. We registered for that race. So they kind of knew we were coming. But yeah, if you want to show up, you just show up and race that night.
And they just base the heats off of
how many car counts and stuff like that. B features, stuff, consolation races and stuff like that, depending on car count and everything.
So what would be the next step of where you're at now if you wanted to move up?
So there'd be two options for us. So I race a non-fendered modified. They have a next class up with more power, essentially.
So that's really what you're doing.
Yeah, you're
It's always
getting more
just
power. Yep, more power, more adjustments and stuff like that. And then they have a late model, which we run out here at Off-Road Speedway. I really don't have any desire. I'm probably on the back end of my racing career.
We're getting old.
Yeah, I'm getting old. It gets tougher every year. A lot tougher. I'm probably stuck in a sport mod. There was talks a few years ago about moving around, but I think we're just going to stick it out for the next few years and just kind of see where we go, and time and always money. It's always hard to say where we're going.
That's what I was going to say. Between you and your family, you guys have probably put a lot of your own, obviously your own money into all this, mostly probably your own money.
I don't ask, being a business owner, I don't go around and ask other businesses for sponsors. A few guys, I kind of let people come talk to me. That's generally where it is. So performance-based and stuff like that. We started running better a few years ago, and it's kind of funny, people go to winning organizations essentially.
Yeah.
And I get a little bit more sponsorship because of that, which makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
That's awesome.
How many times around does it take you on a night to see how the track's running?
I can generally look at it before we even step on the track.
Oh, you don't even?
Yeah, I can generally look at it and make a pretty educated guess and get the setup pretty close. I've been doing this long enough. I can look and be like, well, it's like this now, but halfway through our race, it's going to do this. So let's adjust the car to do this. It might be a little give and take here and there, but for the most part, yeah, I can generally look at it and have a pretty good idea, especially if you pull out on the track, you're like, all right, you could gas it up and you're like, oh, the little slick spot here. It's got a little moisture down there. That's really what we look for at the end of the night when the track does get slick. Any little pocket of moisture is grip. So that's really, you kind of drive around, you kind of look and stuff like that, and just look for any little bit of like darker dirt, realistically.
I don't know how you see that when you got all those cars and everything. Although you're probably usually in ahead. So.
I'd like to sure try to be anyway.
So when you're driving, let's say back in the 4-cylinders, and he was saying there's a lot of rubbing going on. Did that happen quite a bit?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a different form of race and everything like that. It's definitely more aggressive. They're naturally hard cars to drive on dirt. The more you're in the gas, the more the car doesn't want to turn. So they will literally come in and hit and kind of like almost bangboard. Yeah.
Makes sense. Now with the newer, the ones you're driving now, is there less of that or?
For the most part, yeah. It's not near as crazy. I mean, there's definitely some crazy drivers out there. I'm not going to name names or anything like that.
Don't name any names.
I'm not going to name any names, but there's more respect and everything like that too, I'd say.
Yeah. I think I was out there one night. I don't know if it was you or your brother that there was an issue.
Oh yeah.
One of you had gotten hit or something and spun you guys. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But
it happens. I mean, it's racing.
Bad. This has been many years back.
And tempers flare. You're July night, 110 degrees
it's
out.
Competition.
And it's just it. Yeah. We're very competitive people and stuff like that.
It's crazy. Any fights? Physical fights or verbal fights?
Verbal fights. Yeah, I've always had that. I'm definitely not a fighter.
I'm not either.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not going to take a punch really well.
I don't think I've ever even swung a punch. I'm being honest with you. But
maybe once
never
or twice.
Had to.
Maybe my brother. Maybe
I use my words.
Yeah, exactly. Nope, it's just one of those things. I've learned over the years now that I'm a little older and calm down. It's just racing's racing.
Well, you got a family now.
Yep.
It makes a difference when you're not just a young buck.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Hothead and stuff like that. You definitely get calmer as you get older.
Yeah. Tell us a couple stories, good or bad. So you got any good stories over your career racing?
Man, there's so many of them, just to fight adversity. There's times I'll never forget the one time we went up to Sioux City on a random Sunday night and we were bad. We didn't even race the feature race. We showed up and we were terrible. I tried something on the car. It was the worst it ever been. And I left and I was defeated, just literally like, my God, what have we done to the car? And went back and worked on it all week long. We go to Albion on Friday night, the next race, and just kicked their butt. And that was great. Just the sweet redemption we've got on some of that stuff. It's awesome. And that's probably the biggest, most rewarding thing, to take something that just didn't work and we fixed it. And trying to think of just some other points,
Any
just
bad wrecks or anything?
I've had some pretty good wrecks. I've had my bell rung a couple good times, I'm sure.
We've talked about that before.
Yeah. Yeah, I've rolled twice. One time we completely destroyed the car.
Ooh.
Guy hit me in the right front and I just kind of tried saving it, and it rained the night before and I went into the infield and there's no guardrail. Went through the infield and I'm like, there's the corner. I'm going to make it. And the grass was wet. I turned the wheel in the car and it didn't turn. And I hit a big irrigation tire and rolled, landed on my wheels. And I like, all right, everything's moving. Tried firing the car up and tried going. And they're like, whoa, no, like stop. The car's like, you ain't going. And then one time down in Columbus, same thing. A guy clipped me and hit the inside berm and I rolled over and we actually got the car fixed in that feature. Started in the back and ended up 4th that night.
That's crazy. That's good. I mean, good. When you ruin a car, how hard, like for people that maybe don't know much about racing, and I don't know a whole lot, if you total a car, like you said in the first story, is there any getting that back on the track?
Sometimes. So they can fix cars. Like what we're in now in the modifieds, there's with the stub and everything. It all kind of depends on how bent it really is. Bent, broke, anything like that. I've jacked them up pretty good before. We've never like totaled out, knock on wood, never totaled out one of our sport mods or anything like that, but we've bent the stub, which is the frame horns and stuff like that, and had to take it to frame machines and stuff like that, pull it out, re-weld, cut, do anything, crazy stuff. Sometimes we have to take it back to the people that build the car and say, hey, I'm not good enough with this. You guys fix this stuff all the time. Go fix it.
Well, so is it, I mean, obviously it's made out of metal.
Yep, just a tube chassis.
Okay.
Yep, just 1 3/4 tubing. I mean, there's just a bunch of pipe welded together is really all it is.
And then the stuff where the decals are.
It's a giant wrap. So there is a local wrap company that we use. There's tons of wrap companies now. They just get bigger and bigger and bigger. The more we get into this stuff.
Is it metal sides or vinyl or like plastic?
That's what I was kind of getting at. Is it?
Yeah. So the body's all sheet metal, and then it's just a vinyl wrap over that. So it's just metal. We just literally, you pound it out.
So that sheet metal's not really gonna do well in an accident.
No, it's meant to bend and give away and stuff like that.
That's good.
So yeah, that's exactly
to
it.
Keep it that
we
way.
bolt everything on. So at the end of the night, when you see the cars are all destroyed, we can unbolt the whole body, and you just literally just grab a hammer and just go to town.
Start hammering on shit.
Yep. You get really strong in the summer, swinging the big hammers and everything.
That's really cool. So even on the Ford, like the Cavalier, was that the same, or that's still a Cavalier body?
Yeah, it's still an OEM body panel, but you just take off your fender quarter panel, or not the quarter panel, but the door or anything like that, and just pound it out. I grab a 2x4, porta powers or anything like that, and kind of hydraulically press that kind of stuff out. You just get good at it eventually. You wreck enough stuff, you just get good at fixing stuff like that.
Which is probably a good or a bad thing.
Yep,
right?
pros and cons. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Any other stories that you wanted to tell?
Just winning that national championship in 2012 was pretty cool. Being the first one from early around here. We've had some guys run really well and win some other big awards, but winning that first one was pretty cool. My brother was pretty fortunate. He kind of took over my program, my 4-cylinder program, when we moved up. So he's actually won 3 national championships.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I can't remember the years.
Either.
Yeah. He's won 3 of them. So we've got 4 between the two of us. He raced in the 4-cylinder class way longer than I did. He had no really desire to move up like I did. But between the two of us,
well, if you're winning championships,
that's exactly it. Yeah, that's just it. When you're on top, you're running good,
and
every
you're
year.
already in the next one. So
yeah, that's exactly it. We've probably got over 300 wins between the two of us.
That's crazy.
I'm probably 80-ish, but I only ran 3 years in the 4-cylinders, and we've ran so many years in the sport mod and stuff.
Right.
He was in it for quite a bit longer, but between the two of us, it's pretty cool that we've got a little dynasty up there.
Yeah, sounds like it. Does he race anymore?
He switched over to drag racing like my dad did at the end of 2020. He won the national championship and then retired on top. He did come back for one race this year. There was a big payout race, and he came back for it. And he just wanted, or before this race, he wanted to make sure the car ran good. They still had it and everything. Hadn't raced in the car in like 3 years. He shows up and people are like, oh man, like what's Ramsey Meyer doing here? And I didn't expect him to win or anything. I kind of talked to my wife and we're like, 3rd, 4th place. We'll be happy with that. He went out and kicked their butt. He won.
Really?
Yeah, he won. And it was just like, oh man. So
even after that long of being out of it?
Just our cars are good. It's just maintenance, but it's time. That's what I don't know if everybody realizes. It's so much time in the shop. When the wins, the championships, all that stuff, it's all weeknights. It's not at the track. We know them cars in and out, every little nut, bolt.
Well, especially if you're building the engines.
Yeah,
right?
That's exactly it. Yeah. We build everything from scratch. So, we have a shop, do all the work, like the machine work, and then, we'll put it all together ourselves and everything. I touch every nut and bolt on the car. And that's what I really want people to understand on some of this stuff is when you're at the races and you see these people, it's literally their life in this. It's not a hobby to me. Everybody's like, what do you do for hobbies? Well, race. That's my life.
Right.
It's what we do every weekend.
Your job's your hobby.
Yeah. I always tell people it's the second full-time job I have to pay to be at.
Right. You got to pay to be at.
Yeah.
And you
The
still
privilege to lose
race.
money at.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Yep, we still race. We're getting a new car for the 2024 season. It'll be done here in a couple months, and we're only a couple months away from going racing. I'm going to get this car like 2 weeks before the first race.
I keep saying I'm going to come out and watch some, and then I never get out there.
Yeah.
So I might have to do it this
You'll
year.
have to come out this year. Yeah, we bring the kids, and that's always one thing too. You know, that's always fun after the races. You know, come down the pits.
Yep.
Anybody, and I'll tell this to anybody even listening. You come out to the races, you bring your kid. I'll let him sit in the car. I'll put my helmet, my gloves.
You're really good about that.
Yeah, like jump on the back of the car. I'll sign autographs. You know, there's nothing cooler than signing autographs.
Right.
You know,
We're not quite there yet.
yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Like and a little kid comes up with a Sharpie and he's like, "Hey, can you sign it?" Hell yeah, I'll sign
That's
it.
awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's great. It's got to be a really good feeling for you.
Oh yeah.
That you've accomplished, all your hard work is
Yeah, I feel
been
like
put somewhere.
Yep. You know, there for a few years it was a little rough. We weren't winning a lot of races and stuff like that. But here the last couple of years, man, the hard work has finally paid off, and I finally feel like we're in a good spot.
That's good. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, is it growing consistently, or is the replacement as good as normal? Is the younger generation keeping up with the people going out?
We're struggling a little bit. I'll be honest. Out here, we're struggling a little bit to get the youth in here. And that's what I'd like to do. We do have a go-kart track out there, and no one really knows about that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can race go-karts when you're 5 years old. Out there. So I mean, yeah, you can do that till you're 14 years old, and then it becomes, and you can either move into an adult cart, something we could all race in if we really wanted to, or you get into full-size cars and stuff. But yeah, we have a go-kart track out there that hopefully we can get the youth involved.
How fast does a little adult car go?
I mean, you're probably 25, 30. Yeah, I mean, it's shooting.
I'll
yeah,
come
it
watch
sounds
you.
fun. Yeah.
You wouldn't do that?
The last time I got on a go-kart, I about lost my hand.
Oh, I'd do it.
It's no worse. If you've ever been to Joe's Karting, it's really...
That's where I about lost my hand.
Yeah. Well, as long as you keep all your appendages inside, it's not that bad.
It was just one guy that probably goes there like every day.
Yep.
And just kept passing us, and finally he must have got tired of me putting along and hit my back end, and
Yep.
I went spinning. And
It happens. I've been there. I've done that to people before.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've always looked at racing as like, I don't want to try it one time because I'm an adrenaline
Yeah,
junkie.
you're addicted.
And then I just don't want to lose the money.
Yeah. No, I can't blame anybody.
I have an addictive personality the way it is, so
And see,
I just don't need it.
I don't do anything else. I don't hunt. I don't fish. Nothing.
Yeah.
We race.
Yeah.
You know, there's no other hobbies or anything like that really for me.
I'd rather drag race than go race what you do. Mm-hmm. So then I can go straight. I don't got to turn.
I think
Generally don't wreck as much stuff.
Yeah.
drag
hope
race
anyway.
would be fun, but I think what I would really love to do is the road racing, the road rally. Like
Yep.
Hastings had a track
Yeah.
that's like the road course. That would be fun.
It would be really fun. It's just so hard around here just
Yeah.
because there's, it's so limited. You
Yeah.
can only do it a couple times a year and stuff like that. No, I think it'd be a blast. I've always wanted to go build something for that, but it's just not enough. It's not feasible.
What would be the difference if you had to go build something for that? What's the...
I mean, realistically, at that point, you can get any kind of car. You can get another Chevy Cavalier if you really wanted to. But a lot of that times, Mustangs, Camaros, Corvettes, that kind of stuff. To take something out there, and same thing, just a different setup and everything, just a different discipline for the most part.
Where do they do a lot of the drag races? Is there
Marion's-
one around here?
Ottawa and Marion, South Dakota.
Oh, that's the only...
Those are our only two. We had one in
Sanctioned.
Scribner years ago. That one closed down when I was in high school. So it's kind of been unfortunate that we've lost that place. But yeah, Marion, but same thing, you can travel. My dad travels quite often, him and my brother. There's places down in Kansas. I guess we have Kearney. We don't go down there very often.
Kearney's got one too?
Kearney's got one.
Did they used to do that at the airport or no?
No, they've done some stuff like spectator drag stuff, so you
Oh.
can kind of run what you
Not
run kind of a
sanctioned
thing.
events.
Yeah, nothing too crazy about that. No, it'd be something I wish we could get around here, just because I love motorsports and, just get anybody involved I can in this. I don't care what you do or how you do it. I just want you involved in motorsports.
Why couldn't we do it out there? Is it just because they don't want it out there?
No,
or-
the same thing, just to shut it down, probably. And there is prep involved, same thing like we were talking with the moisture for the tires, grip and everything. You have to prep that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Did Ramsey have the same love for racing as you did right away, or did it take some time?
No, he was probably into it maybe a little younger than I was. He probably before 14, 15 years old. He'd kind of just always been into it and stuff.
What's the age difference?
3 years.
So you're 3 years older?
I'm 3 years older, yep.
So when you got into it, he was probably getting into it around the same time.
Yeah.
But you were a little bit older, so that's
Yeah.
kind of how that works with
So it all
brothers.
kind of started in 2012. He actually ran one of our backup cars. We had multiple cars, and he drove one of them, and he just he beat me one night. Go back to that story.
He probably never lets that one go
Yeah,
down.
I'll never forget that one. That was cool. I remember going down the backstretch and he's just right there. And I was like, I'm going to get him. God, I'm going to get him. And nope, it was maybe a fender. Couple feet. That's all he got me
Really?
by. Yep. But it was cool. I hopped in the car afterwards, man, down in Victory Lane and everything. It was cool. It was just a good time.
That's awesome. For maybe the people that don't know, the listeners, can you give us just obviously you're here to promote some racing, get it out, to the people. Can you tell them about off-road, how much time and effort gets put into that by the volunteers, by you guys, and just kind of lay it all out there?
Yeah. So we race on Saturday nights, generally around 6:30, 7 o'clock-ish is when races start. All throughout the summer. There's even some big shows. Like a lot of people don't know, we had a $50,000 to win show out there this summer.
Really?
50 grand. Big
I
show.
didn't. Where's that all coming from?
Just literally, they were some of the biggest names in dirt late model racing.
So is that coming from like entry fees?
No,
or?
so a lot of sponsors put up a lot of money.
Okay.
I think Renegade in the mall, they put up a ton of money for that thing.
Are they big into racing?
They do. I don't personally know the owner, but his name's on a lot of that stuff. So I think he puts forth a lot of money into the racing and everything like that. No, and there's a lot of sponsors. If you'll walk out there, if you donate money to the track or anything, that you have a billboard. If you're any local business or anything like that, there's a billboard out there with your name, phone number, and you'd be surprised how often racers we're a tight knit community. If I want to go buy something and I know they're on a race car and their competitor isn't, I'm going to go to the one that sponsors the race car.
Right.
That's pretty normal for a lot of them guys.
I'm going to have to get on a race car.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, we support people that support us, realistically.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I always thought, is there an insurance person out there?
I don't know. That's a good question. See,
'Cause
I'm
it'd be
always down
funny.
in the pits, so I don't walk out there.
It's
Yeah.
just funny because you would think it'd be a kind of an oxymoron. You guys are out there getting wrecked and going fast. And
That's always a question I always have to ask my insurance people. Like, what happens if I really do get hurt?
right. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. I might have to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good time. And like I said, there's pit passes for that kind of stuff, or like suite passes and everything. But yeah, every Saturday night, and come out, enjoy it. Come down to the pits afterwards. I'm willing to talk to anybody about anything. You can come down. Man, I've been asked a million questions. So any question you have, whether smart or dumb or anything like that, I'll answer it and I'll explain it and try and educate anybody.
Yeah, we always say there's no dumb questions.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anything else about racing? We've been talking racing for about 40 minutes ish.
Doesn't seem that long.
I know, right?
I could probably talk for a few hours about it.
If you want to keep going, we can. Those are really the questions that I had. So if there's something that you think that the listeners need to hear about the racing.
No, not really. I just want more people involved around it. I wish we had more things for younger kids.
What's the best way to get people involved?
The go-kart racing. That would be younger people and stuff like that. Or, if somebody wants to start, I literally started working on just my neighbor raced. And he paid my way into the pits and everything like that. And I just go wrench, and I wrenched for a few years. I went off to college and I came back and I was like, I think this is something I want to do. I want to start racing.
What is this is going to be a hard question to answer, but what's like the initial, like if somebody wants to start?
I think you
What's
could
the initial
realistically,
cost?
still run the 4 cylinders like we raced back then today. You could realistically, safety gear, good safety gear, car, cage in the car for the safety. You're probably looking $400 to $4,500. You could
So
start
it's not too bad. I mean,
and you could probably buy something used cheaper.
yeah, a decent PC nowadays costs about $3,500, $4,000.
Yeah,
So,
that's exactly it. Yeah.
so it's really not that bad. I
Do you
was
pay-
expecting a little more.
Do you pay entry fees every night?
So yes and no. So what we have to go into the pits is $30. There's so that we call it a pit pass.
Yeah.
So some of the bigger shows, that's where they're getting a little money off us to pay some of the purse. So the bigger shows might be $30, $35, something like that. But that's kind of what they figure the entry fee. Some of the bigger shows we go to might have another entry fee. There's a big show in Spencer, Iowa in May. It's a big 3-day show for our class. It's $25,000 to win. It's the biggest paying race I've ever seen for a sport mod. It pays $2,000 to start, and they're only going to start 24 cars. That one costs $300. So realistically on something like that, but for the most part, we really don't have the entry fees around here.
I see why you would need one because you got to operate the
Oh,
business.
yeah,
It's a business.
Yep, it's exactly it. And that's what people don't realize. Like, they're in it to make money too. These people pour their life and soul into these tracks to get them to be operable every week, because you need people at the gate taking tickets, and then you need concession stand people, and then you need people working the track. And
Are they volunteers too?
a lot of them, of them volunteer their time, but I'm sure they're compensated a little bit,
A little bit, yeah. Makes sense. Mm-hmm. So he said it a little bit earlier, but have you obviously you said there's a little bit of a drop off.
Yep. There is, unfortunately.
Why do you think that is?
I just don't think kids is, some of the kids aren't involved in some of this stuff. Like when we were kids, we'd go out and get dirty and stuff like that. My kids really don't have a desire. We tried go-kart racing with a couple of my kids, and they just, they had fun, but it wasn't something they wanted to do. Granted, they're not as competitive as me.
Right.
But I have a set of twins. My twins will be 4 here in a few days. I'm really hopeful for them. Like Chloe, she's going to be a little spitball, so I'm hopeful that she's going to want to do this.
And you have all girls, correct?
Correct. Total girl.
Feel
dad.
sorry for you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's a lot. No, I get it. I get it all the time.
You're outmanned, outwomaned, I guess. That's funny. Racing.
So I actually started racing when I was young. I raced RC cars. A lot of people don't know we had a track up in Hayter and in Stanton. We raced in one of the community buildings over at the Fairboard, or fairgrounds over there. Didn't know we had a lot. There's quite a few people that would come to the shows and race there, but we don't have like that anything. We don't have a hobby town, or it's just kind of died
Radio
off.
Shack kind of had
Yeah,
it. Hobby
it's
Town
just
had
it.
those big ones.
We don't have anything like that around here. There's a lot of stuff I feel like we could have in Norfolk. That'd be kind of cool.
I forget what those like when you build like they don't have a motor, but they used to race like
Soapbox derby cars.
Didn't they used to do that here in town?
I think the Boy Scouts.
Pinewood Derby.
Yeah, Pinewood Derby. I think the Boy
that's what
Scouts still do that. Every now and then my customers will be building one in the shop and everything and trying to get
We
it.
did it in high school or junior high or something. We did those where they give you just give you a block and you make your own car.
Make it aerodynamic and everything like that.
That'd be kind of cool. I mean, I'm just trying to think of other things that would get into that.
Just give you a mechanical
racing.
mindset.
Yeah.
Like you look at something, you're like, I just want to use my hands on it,
I also feel like, and I say this a lot, that Norfolk doesn't do a very good job of getting certain things out to people.
Yeah.
To know what's going on in town.
Yep,
Or
I
even the surrounding communities.
I will honestly say mechanically, which I've had a lot of quote unquote mechanic jobs working on machinery or production type equipment. And to me, that's a little bit different. There is nothing that drives me more crazy than working on a vehicle. Like I just don't have the patience. I lose my mind. I get frustrated. It's one of those things I've realized it's not for me.
No, there's definitely a certain sense of like, it's peace to me. Like there's nothing better than I pop on a set of headphones or something. I may have TV on the background, but just to go work on something. That's what I do on my weekends.
You ever feel like you're going to break something?
All the time. We break stuff all the time.
Yeah,
I would love to race, but I'm not working on the car. I will
There's
be
a few guys like
I'll
that.
be that. What would you call it? Steering
Just the
wheel
wheel man.
princess or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yep.
That's what I would be.
Hey, this doesn't feel good. You need to go look at this. Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong. Ain't running right. You take care of it. I'm gonna be over here. Tell me when I can get back in the car.
I'm just gonna sit in the car for a little bit, guys. If you just want to tell me when you're done.
Just let me know.
Yeah.
And just to set the record straight, I am not mechanically inclined whatsoever. Even growing up around cars, I was more the other side of the selling side, cleaning it. You want me to, I can change a tire. Okay. I can maybe get through an oil change. Other than that, I'm lost. So I commend you.
I refuse to do it.
I could probably watch a
difference.
YouTube video or something and figure it out, but I am not mechanic. So I commend you for being able to
Now, I've got
basically
to
take a car apart.
That's one thing, I'm not really good at. I feel like that's what I'm good at. I'm not good at a ton of other things. I wasn't athletic and stuff like that, but I can look at something mechanically and be like, oh, yep, this is how it works. This is why this does that. And I can take it apart and put it back together.
When did you, was that something you were taught, or did you kind of just do it yourself? You started taking things apart and.
So I always took stuff apart when I was a young kid. My dad had handed me like, here, take this apart. If you don't get it back together, it doesn't matter. It's just junk anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I've always tinkered. And same thing when I raced RC cars. I was probably 12, 13 years old maybe when I started doing that. So it's always kind of just evolved. I've just always worked with that kind of stuff. And
was it knowledge from your dad, or did you,
I think we picked up on a lot of things.
Yeah.
I've never actually had an automotive job, like a mechanical job,
Right.
for the most part. I've never done anything like that. It's always just been spare time wrenching on stuff. I work on all my own cars, my tool
Well, your
trucks
dad's had
and
the
everything.
shop forever,
And that's exactly. I have a nice spot.
you've
to
been
work on
around it.
Yeah, I've been around it my entire life.
and he's built on since you guys have done the racing, right?
Yep.
You guys
We
kinda
got a
have
nice.
your own-
I'm my corner.
Yeah.
In the shop.
That's really cool, and it's right on Main.
Yep.
That you call that Main?
Yep. Main
In
Street.
Pierce?
Right? Yep.
Right across from
We have a car wash up there now. I don't know if you've ever been up there since the car wash got built.
Is that your guys?
No, not ours.
Oh.
Yep.
You're talking about the booming metropolis of Pierce.
It
got
is.
a car wash
Yep. Yeah, we got an automatic car wash. It's got a dog wash. Man, we're moving up in the
Jay's
world.
place, right?
Right across the street. Yeah, from Jay's
somebody
place.
bought that, didn't they?
Yeah, they have a nice little Mexican restaurant going in there. I'm really excited about
so
that.
it's not going to stay the same type of thing.
Not little burgers and stuff. No, we
had
could
really
use
good ice cream.
Their ice cream is bomb over there.
Oh, I'm sad. So a nice little Mexican place, huh? That'll give
pretty
you guys
excited.
something different.
Just some variety besides Subway.
Yeah. Because Taylor, is it Taylor?
Taylor Creek. Or
No,
Taylor Made. I mean,
Yeah, they're gone. They just do the catering now. We've
That's
got
what I thought. So you don't even
411 now. Somebody bought that out. We don't need it out as much as we used to, with 4 kids and then me and
Yeah,
my
we don't
wife,
either.
like 6 kids. It's like 6 people.
It's expensive.
Yeah, when you go out and eat, it's a pile of money.
And just to get the kid, I mean,
You can find something they're going to eat too.
well, just that and just getting them out and making sure
Exactly.
everybody's good to go. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like I want to make sure I'm just trying to make sure we get everything out racing that you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with what we talked about and everything.
Okay.
It's like I said, it's a lifestyle for us.
It's a big part of your life, so I want to make sure we.
That's one
cover
other
it.
thing. You see the people out there racing, and you might see the guy that's running half a lap down. That guy pours his whole soul. I know guys that put their whole paycheck into the cars, week in, week out. They're literally just working to race.
Right.
So I would, if you ever come out to the races, just think of that. Don't laugh at that guy. He's busting his butt. He's working.
And nobody's doing that. There's not their full time thing.
No, that not around here. There are people that do that. Few and far between. Trust me, few and far between. They have got big backers and stuff like that. I mean, money does a lot of things for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
But you could not competitively race around here and make a living or anything like
That's
that.
what I thought. So the season starts when?
Yep. So we'll actually start. Let's start racing down in Beatrice here in about 2 months.
So I guess here in Norfolk.
Yep, in April.
Yep.
So
And it goes, you said November?
No, that'd be the bigger forms of racing. We'll race in here till about October around Nebraska and stuff like that. You'll pick up a few specials and stuff like that around the end of the year. But yeah, there's multiple races we'll go to. We'll probably I'd like to try and do 25 shows. I feel pretty comfortable doing that. We've ran as many, when we won the national championship, 55. That was the most we'd ever ran. But with what we do now, the time and the labor involved, just to kind of put it in perspective, for us to do one tire on the car, to prep one tire for the A feature, is anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes.
Jeez.
So, and that's just literally maybe you're dismounting the old tire, putting the new tire on, and then prepping it, getting it all ready to go. And then there's scaling involved, so weights, corner weights, and everything like that. Setup involved. Well, we weren't this good this past weekend, but we want to change it for this weekend, kind of a thing. So there's always something. We're always evolving and we're learning and talking to other guys. I've only got a few guys I really talk to pretty tight knit about racing and stuff, or like car setup and stuff like that.
yeah.
But it's
Because
literally
you don't
what
want
I
to
do.
give secrets away, right?
That's exactly it. Yeah. If I find something, I don't want anybody else to know it.
right.
But yeah, that's literally, I'll get done working at the end of the day and I'll go down to my dad's shop and it's 2-3 hours, maybe a night, Well, I couldn't be down here Tuesday night. Well, I need to work a little harder on Wednesday.
Tinkering around.
Yep.
Have you come across any shady shit? Like, is anybody doing anything really
I mean,
off the cuff?
I could say you could go through our car with a fine tooth comb and you'll never find anything illegal, but you're not illegal till you're caught.
Right.
And it's gray area. You really focus on gray area stuff. I mean, that's really where we found a lot of speed in our 4-cylinder. I'll be 100% on. There's rules in the rule book because of me. They found stuff and they're like, we don't have a rule on that yet, but
We're
take
gonna
that
put
out.
one out,
Yeah,
yeah.
you need to not do that anymore.
But is there any other, is there shady people out there?
Yeah, there's people that cheat.
stuff
Oh, yeah.
So, can you give us an example?
The big one is traction control. So it'd be literally traction control in your car. So you're trying to go on an icy road and the traction control kicks in and it slows the tire speed down to bring grip essentially to do that. The race car is much more refined. They're very expensive and they're very expensive. If you get caught with it, it's a $10,000 fine and a lifetime suspension in our sanctioning body.
Wow.
So it's huge.
Has that happened?
Yeah, not that I've known for a really long time.
But it has happened.
Yes. And it's out there. I mean, it's literally the size of probably a quarter the size of our phone. You can hide it anywhere.
Jeez.
So, I mean, it's goofy. There's ways to do it, but if people want to spend the money, I guess, we're racing for peanuts out there realistically. If you
Right,
want to
so
go out
you're
and spend
spending all this money
a
on
pile of
something.
money on it, what do you really, that's when our philosophy is, if you really go out and win and you're cheating like that, did you really win? Yeah. Are you really winning?
That's like having hacks in FPS games.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
exactly
yeah.
it. Like, yeah.
Hacks in any game.
Any
Just
game,
started
yeah.
crazy. Like, for what?
Yeah, that's exactly why. Why do you need to do
Because
that?
you weren't good enough to win in the first
Yeah,
place.
boost your ego up.
Really got to cheat. Just play the game the way the game's made and beat me that way, dude.
Yep. Exactly.
So from April to October in Norfolk.
Yep.
That's every Saturday.
Every Saturday
from
night.
April to October.
We take a little time off the Madison County Fair. And then I think the night before, July 3rd, we always have a big race out there. So, and I'll invite any of the listeners to come down. Like I said, bring your kids down. Let them sit in my car. Have a good time. That's the main thing. Come out and have fun.
Yeah. It's fun. Christian won a bike one year when we were out there.
Yeah.
They did a bike giveaway.
It's every year they do that. They do a bike giveaway. I think they do a book bag giveaway. I mean, there's always some, I don't want to call them gimmicks, but there's always something going on for the kids. And most tracks will do that. They'll have a bike giveaway. Columbus does the same thing. They race on Thursday nights. Albion races on Friday nights.
So do you guys try to kind of like, is it coordinated for that reason?
Yes.
Like,
yep.
So
Because you don't want to
night?
you don't want to race on the same night because then it's only going to hurt both tracks.
Right.
Essentially on something like that. Now, Sioux City, they have 2 tracks up there and they're literally right across the road. You'll turn right to go to one track and left to go to the other.
Really?
Yep. Right across the street from each other.
And they're competing.
Yeah. One race.
They run the same time?
No, not the same time. One race on Saturday nights, one race on Sunday nights.
At least they do that.
Yeah. It's always a little weird. I always thought that was just crazy up there that they were just
crazy.
literally right across the
Although
street.
you could go up there and spend a weekend and
We've
do
talked
both
about
tracks.
that. Yeah. I've had a couple buddies do that. Makes it a lot easier that way for sure. Just travel costs and everything. Fuel. I mean, there's a lot involved in getting to the track.
Well, yeah. I mean, fuel's not cheap.
Most of us have bigger pickups, diesel pickups. Diesel's not cheap right now.
You got an enclosed trailer then
Yep.
too for the
Yep. So we keep, spare tires. We have a full loaded toolbox, spare parts, pieces.
camper?
We used to, we got rid of it. We had a toter home, which is essentially just a truck built with beds and bunks and stuff like that. We actually sold that to better improve our business and stuff and kind of expand on that. But
Nice.
Do you guys run like higher octane fuel or just normal?
so you can run pump gas. So like my dad at his store sells 91 octane fuel and you can run that, but I've always believed in we're racing. We need to run race fuel. And my dad sells race fuel too. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I kind of need to
That's easier.
promote the business and everything. It does make it a little easier that way. But yeah, it'd be like 100 octane fuel. So 105 octane fuel. So like what we buy at the pump is 91. So this is quite a bit higher, more potency. It's a chemical mix. It's not like what you buy out of the pump. It's like oil refined and everything. What we have is a chemical mixture to make racing fuel.
Is it more combustion? Does it?
Yeah, essentially it just makes more power, stuff like that. The higher octane fuels and stuff like that, it actually helps it run better, cleaner, crisper.
Okay.
It's quite a bit more expensive. Generally in one night of racing, we'll burn 5 to 6 gallons of fuel at about $7-8 a piece. Ooh. You don't think about that though.
I figured it'd be more gallons than that.
Yeah, about 5 gallons roughly is what we run a night. So it's not bad.
So how many miles do you run in a night?
It was easier back in the 4-cylinder because we had the dash in the car yet. So we had the trip odometer. Roughly, I would say like 15 miles. So roughly 15 miles.
Because it's 2 races. It's a heat
Yeah, so
and
there's
then a feature.
A heat and a feature. Unless there's a lot of cars, they could split us up into what we would call like a B feature. And then they'll transfer cars. So they could start 10, 12 cars and be like, hey, we're going to take the top 4 out of this race and put them in the main event. So we're kind of struggling around here. Car count's a little down, which is unfortunate. But racing, just like anything, it's so hard to get into from a money perspective, which is the unfortunate thing.
Not really from what you were saying. I mean, if you really think
it is, but like to run competitively, like if you were to get into my class today, I feel
Your
bad.
class, yeah.
Yeah, I'd feel bad for anybody trying to like get into sport mods today just because shocks, tires, wheels,
and
car,
everything's so much more expensive.
and trailer, and tools, spare parts, stuff like that. I've been doing this long enough. I have a lot of these things before they got crazy expensive,
Do most of the people that run, are they from racing families? Like obviously you're from a racing family.
Yeah, I'd say not very often do you get somebody, for the most part, every now and then you'll get somebody that hasn't done it before. One of my best friends, his dad was involved in racing back in the day and he'd been really into it, but he had no real racing background and he just bought a car and kind of got into it and kind of helped him through and get going.
Was he a mechanic guy?
Yeah,
So he already kind of knew?
Yep. He was a John Deere mechanic and everything.
You probably don't see too many racers that weren't either some way around cars at some point or...
You'd be surprised, actually.
Really?
I know guys that couldn't even change their own oil.
That were driving?
Yep.
Oh, there you go, Vance.
Yep. Yeah, it's
I can change my oil. I just refuse to change my oil. It's so much cheaper
There's
to
a
spend $30
difference.
somewhere.
That's funny.
I ain't got the time.
I know.
Somebody else do it. It's not my big deal.
Yeah,
That's the
there's
way I
guys
feel
like
about
that. You don't have to be. I mean, there's guys in NASCAR that couldn't do some of that
I'm sure.
mechanical stuff. They're a driver.
Yeah.
That's what they know.
They want the adrenaline. They want the, yeah. Mm-hmm. So walk us through your work history a little bit. So we're going to move away from racing. You cool with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
So I know that you were at Norfolk Auto
Yep.
And then now you have Meyer Tool Service. Was there anything in between there?
So nope, I left Norfolk Auto back in 2015. From there, before that, I worked at Norfolk GM as a parts counter. And
Okay.
Before that, I worked at Motoplex at the parts counter also. So I've kind of got the parts.
So those two I either forgot or didn't know about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yep, I worked at Motoplex, then went to Norfolk Chevy, and then I was at Norfolk Auto for 3 years.
So you've been around some sort of vehicle
Yep.
parts or
Yep. Inventory management, stuff like that. Pretty much my whole life. Working career, anyway, I should say.
did you, I mean, obviously enjoy it?
Yeah. I really enjoy the parts world of things. It's really, a lot of people don't realize it's the backbone. Like at a Norfolk Chevy, that's the backbone there. If you don't have a good parts department, the dealership kind of falls. Salesmen depend on them for accessories and stuff. The mechanics in the back are dependent on them to get them the parts on time and everything. If your parts department isn't good, the whole dealership can really crumble underneath of it. You know, maybe that's my view on it, just because I was in that department and everything.
There's always a backbone of something that people don't realize. It's again going to go back to what we say, that people think shit just happens.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You know, that's something as a parts guy. When you get something there, if you get it there early, well, that's just doing your job. You know, mechanic gets that, get done. They're kind of praised and stuff. Hey, thanks for getting that done early.
Right.
The parts guy generally never gets thanks for getting stuff there early.
No, not usually at all. So going from Norfolk Auto, what made you, how did you get into the Mac Tools?
So it was just, honestly, just a Saturday. I was bored. I don't even remember what I was doing. And I was like, I think I just want to fill out an application. You know, I just something that sounded like I would enjoy. Obviously, my dad's owned his own business for a long time. It's something I'd never really felt like, hey, I want to run my own business or anything like that. And I was just like, man, we'll fill out the app. We'll talk to them. And I talked to them and I really liked it, what they had to say. And then I went home, kind of talked it through with my parents and stuff like that. What do you guys think? This, that. And we just kind of kept going down and going down. And then I hit a roadblock. That was probably, it'd been a couple years before I'd left. I hit a roadblock. I'd actually had too many speeding tickets on my record. So they couldn't allow me to start a franchise because they couldn't legally be like, well, you have all these speeding tickets. It's not like I had a pile. I had 6 of them within 5 years.
That's
and they're
quite a few.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. So, and it was never doing anything dumb. It's not like I was going 100 or anything. It was 5 here, 6 there. You know, it's just small stuff.
You didn't have any
I wasn't racing on the track.
35?
Yeah, I wasn't going out racing on the street or anything like that. I hit a roadblock and they're like, we can't do this. And we looked at all these outlets. I even hired a lawyer to send certified letters to these counties that I had speeding tickets in if they would drop them off my record. And not one county out of all 6 of them, not one county dropped one speeding ticket.
Oh my God.
So I paid this lawyer and he's like, well, man, we tried. It cost me a lot of money.
I bet it did.
Yeah. He was really confident. He's like, yeah, we've done this before and I've had really good luck with this and it didn't work. So that's what I always tell these younger guys, like, yeah, you're having fun and stuff like that. But like, think of this down the road. Like this cost me about 1.5 years. I had to wait. And I knew when every single one of those tickets dropped off.
Oh yeah.
I had my sheet. So I'm like, all right, this one's gone.
It affects your insurance.
That's exactly it. Yeah. All that stuff.
Speaking of that, bull crap, but whatever.
Don't speed. I don't know what to tell you.
But yeah, so I watched
I
every single one of them drop off.
more than people that are under the speed
Get out of
limit.
here.
Absolutely.
I'm 5 over everywhere I go.
There you go.
That's my
what I'm saying.
rule right there. Most of the time.
If you're under the speed limit, I don't trust you as a driver. Because
yeah, that's exactly it.
You're a timid driver. You're gonna.
I've never
you're
been
gonna fuck
stopped for
something
5
up.
over. Ever.
It happens.
I've gotten pulled over for 3 over in my tool truck, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably because you're in your tool truck.
Yep.
though.
Yep. He got me good there. Didn't give me a ticket. He just wanted to pull me over for no reason.
Yeah, I'm sure. Making sure you weren't dealing drugs or something.
Yeah,
No, I'm
exactly.
just kidding.
Got to dip the tanks.
Yeah.
But so I hit a roadblock there. So it was really something. I had to wait 1.5 years before I talked to him again. So it was really something I wanted to do.
That.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a rough time. It was like we were so close. Like I had plane tickets bought to go to training, and all of a sudden they call me up and they're like, "Hey, we can't do this. We've looked at everything. Don't know what to do. I'll tell you."
So I don't understand. That confuses me on the franchisee part, because aren't you technically, you own it?
I am.
Or they don't insure you, or they do insure you?
They do not
or-
insure me, but it's just one of their things for their insurance. I'm
just
sure if I were to
seems-
get in a wreck like a month in and they're like, why would you let this guy have it? Look at his driving history or something, maybe, I guess.
It makes no sense.
Corporate
to me.
America stuff.
Literally, that makes no sense to me.
It's just a liability thing for them.
But there's no liability because they're not insuring it.
You have no type of coverage that's
There
through
is
Mac
liability
Tools.
through them.
Oh,
like,
that's why.
Okay.
there is like a liability insurance, but like if I were to get in a wreck, pass away, and like I owed them so much. They have to be listed as under my insurance as like payee kind of a thing.
So
I guess
it's a gray area.
Yeah.
And that's why they have to do it that way, because they could be liable if he caused a big problem.
Mm-hmm. Somebody can come back and sue them.
Generally don't do that, but I guess.
Just goofy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took me a little while, year and a half. Literally the 1 month the ticket dropped off. The next month I called the rep and started the whole process over again.
I'm surprised they didn't go 10. Some companies go 10 years back.
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate to only go 5 because it'd taken me a long time to get there.
Right.
So they were all in a pretty much bulk little area and stuff like that. So yeah, they all dropped off. I started September 15. Just wanted to do my own thing, and it was kind of one of the, I honestly wanted to take time off to go race. And looking back, it's like, why would you ever think you were going to take time off if you own your own business?
Right.
Definitely pros and cons on that side of thing. But yeah, just got it running. September 15 felt really good. We hadn't had a Mac Tools distributor in the area.
So you didn't like take over for something?
No. So this was a fresh route. We hadn't had a full-time route distributor since 2002. And I remember walking on his truck when I worked at Jerry's Trailers and Campers, actually like one of the last weeks. And I remember walking on like, there's nothing on this truck. Like, why do you guys like coming out to this thing?
Right.
And that was, his name was Bill Hansen, Billy Mack. And I still see Bill today. He's all jacked up. He was really excited to have somebody bring back the brand and everything like that. It was kind of nice. A lot of people knew the brand. And the nice thing was working at all the places I have and through racing, I have all these relationships. I probably knew 60% of my customers before I even hit the road.
Right.
Which was great. Found out how many people knew me. I always tell more people know me than I know people. Man, I'd go out there and there was probably another 10% that I had no idea who were them. They knew who I was, kind of thing.
I hear nothing but good things since you've
I pour my heart and soul into it, man.
Obviously, I heard good things before, but
yeah,
when I mention your name now, they're, the Mac Tools guy. I'm like, yep.
I pour my heart and soul. I feel like we've really got the brand out and everything. So I own and operate my truck, and then we have 2 other trucks that I have employees in.
And those were recent, right?
So in 2018, we expanded into 2 trucks. And then just about a year ago now, we're about a year in, we expanded into 3 trucks. So we've kind of split our route up. So I'm basically in Norfolk. I've got my Tuesdays are out of town and stuff like that. I have a set route schedule. So I visit the same shops week after week, same time. I'm very consistent. I mean, you can time me on the watch. It's very, very important that I stay consistent like that. But yeah, we've got one guy that runs the northeastern route. So he'll go up into Wayne, West Point, Hartington, Laurel, Randolph area. And then the other route will go out west into like Atkinson, Ainsworth, Albion.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, we get pretty far out there and stuff like that.
So when you got the 2 extra trucks, were you already doing those, or was that
you
expanded
the territory? Yep.
Okay.
So before I went into the other trucks, I didn't get much out of Norfolk. There was a little bit. I go to Madison and Humphrey myself, and then Clarkson and Creston and Stanton and stuff. But then once we got the other trucks, we just kept expanding our territory and customer base.
Shops just in Norfolk.
Yeah. How many? I did check this before. I was kind of curious. How many shops are in Norfolk? Do you think? I didn't count like specific, but
that you stopped to.
Yeah, that would be automotive, auto body, ag repair, off-highway repair, which would be like heavy-duty equipment and stuff. Car dealership lots that work on their own stuff, because there are car dealers that don't work on anything. How many do you think there is?
65.
I was just
you guys are,
that was the number I was going to go with.
You're both a little low. I would roughly 85 shops in Norfolk, and it's just.
I was going to say 90.
Yeah, it sounds so high. I didn't realize it was that high.
Well, because I didn't know if you were going to elaborate that it was the farm equipment and all that too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe I'll get him when he doesn't realize you do those too.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, there's roughly 85 shops just within a couple miles of Norfolk.
It does surprise me, but it doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm. Well, just in Humphrey alone, there's 9. I go to 9 places in Humphrey. It's crazy to think a small little town, Wisner's the same way. Just all the little ag repair. Once you start up adding, your ag repair and then your truck repair and your body shops, there's a lot of industry in this this area.
Well, and I just said he doesn't like doing it. I don't like doing it. Mm-hmm. Most people don't like.
There's times I don't want to work. There is times I don't want to work on my own stuff, and I just take it to the dealership.
And some of these places are like 1-man teams.
Yeah, 1-2-man shops. It doesn't take a lot to keep one guy busy.
That's what I mean.
Answering the phone, doing quotes, stuff like that. No, it's definitely kind of crazy. And, there's so much need for this, like I know you guys talk about trade schools, man, I'd tell anybody right now, there's good money to be made in the industry and stuff like that.
Very good money.
Yeah. And we need it. There's not one shop in town that I don't think if somebody that was qualified would roll up to and be like, hey, I'm qualified. I know what I'm doing. That wouldn't hire him at this point and make good money.
Especially now, like it's, we're really big in our family of like, we'll go to a mechanic that knows what they're doing. Somebody that's going to
You trust them.
do a little bit of digging and not just what the book tells them.
Yep.
And that's the problem I've ran into and I've noticed is the worst thing in the industry in the last 5 to 10 years is these younger kids just go with what they're taught, plug it in. Yep. It says it's this. That's what it is.
Yep. That's what the computer says.
I'm going to pay you $700 and my shit's still fucking
the check
broke
engine
because
light's
you
still
didn't
on.
fucking fix it. You didn't look into it. You didn't do anything. You just went with what it was.
It's the same thing we talked with Jose about doctors.
Yeah.
I was like, I've already told you that's not what the issue is.
Yep.
I do my own little research. I know it's not this, and I don't have a degree.
Do you see any younger mechanics coming up that are going to be okay, that are going to do it the right way?
There's good kids. So that is one thing. I go up to the Northeast Community College up here. I'm up there all Monday. So just like this past Monday, there weren't a lot of kids up there because of the snowstorm.
Right.
But I get up there at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm there till 3:30 in the afternoon. I'm up there all day. I see everybody in auto tech, everybody in auto body, and everybody in the diesel repair program. So it's probably about 100 kids I see every Monday. We spend a lot of time focusing on that. So I call it my student tech program through Mac
Good
Tools.
salesmanship is what it is.
Yeah,
You're literally
those are my future
getting
customers.
your clients. Yeah,
those
before
are my
they
future
ever get
customers.
there.
So I spend a lot of time with them kids up there and talking and teaching and I'll walk in and I'll see what they're working on and be like, wow, there is a special tool for this to make it easier. I have this out there. Not trying to be the salesman guy, but
Right.
hey, just to
You're
educate.
doing your job. Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing is just educating people. There's a lot of stuff out there. Guy will call me up and be like, well, we're looking for this. And I'll be like, well, take a picture, send it to me. Well, this is actually what you need right here. There's a lot of the educating people and stuff like that I do way more than I ever thought I would.
And obviously you already knew a lot about probably tools to begin with.
Yeah, for the most part. I've learned way more.
Yeah, okay. So you had to do a lot of research on what everything was.
There's always something coming out new. All these auto manufacturers do make new fasteners and stuff like that. So I have to stay up on top of that and be like, okay, yeah, these new Chevys take this kind of socket or that kind of socket.
My Ford Edge lug nuts are like 20.5 millimeter,
So
some
that's
weird
pretty common.
ass millimeter.
I will bet that almost probably half the shops in town don't know about that until I tell them.
Oh, they ruined mine.
Oh, yeah,
one
because
plate, just because they got the aluminum cap on them too, and that makes me mad.
Yeah.
I understand it. You ruined it. Why put it back on?
Yep, that's exactly it.
What is the point here?
It's all accountability on
Call
stuff
me
like that.
and say, hey, fucked up.
And it's normal. That is
what it
a normal wear and tear item on a lot of our domestic cars and stuff like that. The Ford, Chevys, Dodges, they all do it. Just
they do it to make more money.
It's a cheap lug nut. It looks good, but it's cheap.
So does Mac do workshops? Do you have to?
So we have
keep
some
up on
stuff.
that, or do you do it yourself?
A lot of it's just self-education. We have a Facebook group, obviously, with all the Mac Tool distributors, and there's some stuff that pops up, and I try to read all of that. I try to get it all in, because there's sometimes you're just going to run into that weird oddball thing, and you'll be like, I think I remember seeing something about that. But we have an annual tool show and stuff like that, and there's a lot of educational new products and stuff like that we go to every year, and help us just promote general knowledge and stuff like that.
Yeah, and no offense against any other. I have to make sure I always say this. No offense against any other tool person in town that sells tools. But I have heard a lot of good things about you, about your education, about how you make sure the guys know the tools that they're using, getting them good quality tools that you sell to. So I just want to make sure I got that out there.
Well, that's the biggest thing with the tool truck. So compared to going to a box store, if you were going to go to Baumgart's or something like that and buy something, if you buy from me, you're buying service. That's the way I look at it. I sell service first and foremost. So a lot of my tools have warranty.
And you're doing that?
I'm doing that myself. So I will grab it, swap you out. You break a wrench, a screwdriver, or something like the socket. I'll swap you out. Generally, I have it on my truck. I will grab it, swap it out for you, give you the brand new one, and then I take care of that all on the back end. So that's the biggest thing that's why the professional techs need professional grade tools on some of this stuff, because you can't run down to Baumgart's or something like that if something breaks. You generally don't have time. There's a guy up front waiting on this. I'll run all over town. I'm sure you guys have seen me just bebopping all over town. There's days I don't ever stop.
Is there any place that you've had a hard time getting into? You don't have to name the place, but
yeah, there's always challenges and stuff like that, just because they don't know what we really offer. There's maintenance places and stuff like that. They didn't know, hey, let me at least come out and show you what I have to offer and stuff. And then we get there and they're like, oh yeah, this is amazing. There's been a few places that was but it's just random word of mouth stuff. They're like, oh, hey, one guy came from this place to this place, and now it's not in the field, but hey, we just need needle nose pliers, and we like your needle nose pliers. So, hey, can you get us a couple of them for the guys in the back or stuff like that? there's always somebody needing tools everywhere.
Right. And you have to buy your inventory. Like you have to stock your own inventory, right?
So I own the trucks, the inventory, everything.
And you got a storage unit for some of that stuff?
We have 2 storage units, actually.
We don't got to say where they're at.
So, yeah. Well, one of them's pretty... So I do own storage units also.
Oh,
so
do you?
we
Okay.
rent from ourselves and everything like that, too.
I didn't know that.
Yep. So we own some storage units. We got them a couple years ago.
You build them or buy them?
We bought them. Yeah, but just a random word of mouth thing. Guy just showed up.
Like, what? I need storage units. I could use the extra income. Let's just go ahead and buy it.
So, yeah, it's definitely... it worked out pretty well. We inherited a little money. From my father-in-law passing away, and it was just like, why squander it? Let's invest this money. So me and my wife talked about it, and it worked out great. So yeah, we ran a couple storage units. We keep toolboxes there, extra inventory, big stuff, and then my garage is 100% full.
You do a really good job of social media too.
I really enjoy social media. I'm really big on Snapchat and everything. Snapchat, Facebook.
Snapchat work for you?
It works amazing. But I have about 700 people on Snapchat right now. So every post I keep an eye on of what people view, and like if I post a video, like when do they quit watching?
Right.
At what point did I lose the average viewer and stuff like that? Like, all right, well, let's try and get it to the point maybe a little quicker, this, that. So I always try and pay attention to that.
Tried TikTok yet?
I actually deleted it off my phone. My wife's really big into it because I'd sit there all night and you just
I know.
sit there at 11 o'clock and like, it's 2 a.m.
Cam.
Dude, I didn't have it, so I just deleted it. It was easier that way.
We've been told to get on Snapchat. We've been told to do TikTok. We just haven't had a chance to.
But I just use it. So like, let's say I traded like a torque wrench in.
Yeah.
So I just take a picture of it. Hey guys, fresh traded on this. And then boom, 600, 700 people see it right then and there. And it's quick and it's fast and it's easy that way.
So you sell the trade-ins?
Oh yeah. Yep.
People that don't want to buy brand new. And
Yeah. Stuff like that, or like, again, it kind of goes back to racing and stuff. A lot of the race car guys don't need that, $600-$700 tool, but if they can buy a used one for a couple $100. I don't trade in a ton of stuff, but when I do, that stuff goes quick.
Obviously, you're enjoying the business.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself expanding more?
Yes and no. 3 trucks is a lot. Realistically, what I need to do is now I need to find somebody to run my truck. And then I could bounce around and ride with my other employees and stuff like that and train them. Because I'm very knowledgeable and I know what I'm doing. They call me. I can log into their computer and everything like that and like, hey, walk them through that kind of stuff. But if I could be there on the truck, I could be so much better. The days I go ride with employees, they have great days.
Right.
But it's just so knowledgeable. I can point out.
Just showing them how to do it.
Yep. And it's just sheer knowledge. I've been doing it for so long now, and 8.5 years in. It just makes it easier that way. So that's kind of the next step. I don't know if I'll ever get to that point because I just don't know if I could give it up because I really love what I do and I love my customers and the relationships I've built with them. I had one particular customer. He was a great friend. I did not know him before I started this thing. Just became friends on the route. I was the best man in his wedding
Wow.
a year ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And that was 6-7 years ago. We just met. And I was the best man in his wedding.
That's
so
really
it's
cool.
just the crazy relationships I make with the customers and stuff like that. It's really rewarding.
Do you ever have to when you're on the route and you get towards the end of the day, are you having to turn down people for some beers? You
Yes and no. Yeah.
So many offered.
There's always people always offer beers at the end of the day, and it's like, I gotta drive. Like it kills my motivation at the end of the day, especially on Friday. Like, no, I can't. Like, I gotta get some stuff done before the weekend, kind of a thing.
Right. That's funny. As far as Mac Tools, I'm gonna guess there's some in Omaha, Lincoln.
Yeah. So we have Omaha, Lincoln.
You don't though.
I don't know. So I'm basically Northeast Nebraska. So the nice thing with me coming up here is I've gotten other people, they see success and they want to be like you. So I've started a guy up in Sioux City on his own. He's his own franchise owner, and same thing in Yankton. There's a guy down in Columbus. He's been doing it for 18 some years, and same thing in Lincoln's been doing it. He owns 3 trucks down there also. We've really grown on this side of the state. When I was up here, I was kind of on an island,
right?
And now we've grown, and now we cover all this coverage, and it's better. The more we get here, the better the coverage gets, and it just, if a customer moves from here to Yankton, well, now Yankton has a Mac guy. It makes it easy that way. So
do you kind of, I'm trying to think of I was trying to think of, do you help them out? Do you
correct.
give them advice?
So I'm what corporate would call I'm a mentor distributor.
I was looking for a mentor. Yeah.
So I cover all the bases. I run my business like they want me to. So they'll come ride with me for a little bit. I'll train them and stuff like that before they'll kind of go to their tool school in Ohio, where Mac Tools is based out of, and train before they hit the road and everything. They like what I do. I showcase my products the right way, features and benefits. The biggest thing with what I do is save time, make money. You know, if I can sell you a special tool and it saves you an hour on your job, well, you're going to make more money with that.
Right.
You know, that's one of the biggest things too. It's just save time, make money.
It's a good philosophy to have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Balance is a big key word on this podcast, which you're a listener of the podcast, so you know that. Walk us through balancing like family and work in your household, running your own business. It can come with long hours, weekends. We've kind of talked about that. Plus, you have the racing on the side. Walk us through how you kind of balanced all
I'm
that.
terrible. I'm not good at balance. Because could you imagine with your office, you just drive it home. And it's in your driveway.
There.
So think about that. My whole operation's in my driveway.
Right.
It's not anywhere else. So when I come home, I'll come in, play with kids for a few minutes, and like I get freight. So generally, like on an average day, I leave before 7 a.m. So most days it could be anywhere from 5:30 in the morning to 6:30 in the morning, 7's maybe on my later days. I don't generally get home till 6, 7 o'clock at night. Then I got to go through. I got to check in all the freight, do deposits, do all your normal work business stuff, go through everything to get ready for the next day. And then, my kids are coming and they come out and help too, which is nice. It gives them chores and everything like that to kind of do. And, but it makes it a little tougher. I'm terrible with the balance. I really love what I do and I want it to be so great that I forget to just be like, hey, just go inside for 15, 20 minutes early and stuff like that. Right. I'm not good at it.
You'll get there.
Yeah.
It'll come.
Does your wife help force that on you?
Yeah, she's kind of been like, you need to come in sooner,
it's time
stuff
for
like
you
that.
to
Like
get in here.
if the nice thing is if I get home early enough, I'll go in and eat with the kids. Like I always try and eat when I can, but they eat earlier. I'm always kind of a late night eater and stuff like that anyway, but I try to do as much as I can. But yeah, that's the tough part with the entire office being in the driveway.
I hear you. That's why I try not to bring my laptop or the iPad or anything home.
Yeah.
Try not to. But
how many phone calls do you get? Do you get calls at night and stuff like that? Yeah.
You probably do too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All through the night.
Yeah. Because
just think about it, most mechanics.
Yeah.
Some tool guys have separate cell phones. I'm just easily accessible. But like if you're a mechanic during the day, you're probably working on your stuff at night and you're like, oh, I'm working on this project and hey, I kind of need this.
Right.
So Snapchat, text me, something like that. Hey, I need this next time you come by the shop.
A lot of insurance agents do the same thing. They have a separate thing called the bat phone.
Yep.
Where
that's exactly
I don't do that either. No. I just have the same.
It'd be too confusing.
It'd be too confusing, and I like to be accessible too. Mm-hmm. I don't give it to everybody, but most people have it, or they can get it.
Mm-hmm. It's easy enough.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. So your wife plays a big. She works too, though.
She does not. She does not. She used to. Yeah. She kind of took it back. So when our twins were born, just daycare expenses and stuff like that.
How many years ago? You said 3. So
yeah, the twins were 4. Yep. She quit when she was pregnant. Obviously, the twins takes kind of a toll on the body and everything like that. So yeah, she kind of quit before that. We kind of knew once they went back to school and everything, she'd be able to work and go back full time and everything. Once they got in school, make everything a heck of a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
But no, she can run a tool truck. She's done it. We've been down employees before. She's had very little training and just gone out in the route and
that's awesome.
Find the shop. Yeah, she's
family
killing.
Business.
Yeah, that's exactly it. She gets it. So that's a nice thing. It's definitely pros and cons because I'll come home and I'll talk about my day and she knows 100%
like what you're saying,
what I'm talking about, what customer I'm talking about, right. What tool I sold them, this, that. So I mean, there's a little bit of that. So again, it goes back to the balance point. It does make it a little tougher just because it's a common interest essentially between us.
But it does probably help balance if she's not working.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I couldn't
she
do
can
what
handle
I
all
do
the
without
household stuff. And
yep. That, just running reports, taxes, stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff she does on the back end that I don't know if I could ever do without her kind of a thing.
Yeah. I say that all the time too. There's no way I could do this podcast or do the work that I do. It's a good balance between us. I take the kids to school. I pick them up because my job allows for it. Mm-hmm. Kai's at work at 5:30 in the morning and is there till 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. And it's like, yeah, it's a big balance both ways. And you seem to have that good balance at your home too.
Yeah. So that's a nice thing. Between the two of us, we can always make everything work. That's actually something I'm going to try and work for that I'd like to do in the next little while is move a little bit around, at least be able to take the kids to school like one day a week or something, one day every couple of weeks, just to get that little extra time with them.
Well, if you get that other driver, you can kind of do what you want to do.
Yeah, I know. That'd be the nice thing. It would free up a lot of extra time, but it's, if I could clone myself tomorrow, man, it'd be sweet.
Are you actively looking for somebody?
Yes and no. We're always kind of looking. That's one thing I've always learned.
Nothing posted or anything.
Correct. Yeah. You're always hiring. That's what I've always learned. You're always hiring. You're always talking, put somebody in your back pocket. If something happens, I've had employees come and go, so on that side, yeah, I'm always looking for somebody, but it's tough because I almost need a manager but I need somebody with mechanical comprehension and sales experience. And I kind of need somebody that's tech savvy, to be able to run the computer, the phone, and just kind of bounce stuff back and forth. And, so what it's almost a specialized individual,
Everybody that's successful is always looking to hire. And everybody that wants to be successful is always looking for the next
opportunity.
Oh, exactly.
Whether you're an employee or an entrepreneur or whatever it is, everybody should be looking. If you're not looking, if you're just stagnant, I mean, I guess more power to you, but then you're not getting any better.
Well, and that's what we always tell ourselves, even racing, the tool industry. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
If it was easy, come do it. But it's a challenge, day in, day out.
Sales is a challenge in general.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Too.
How many sets of screwdrivers do you think I can sell a guy? It's one of them things like, and that's, we get that a lot. Well, how many wrench sets or ratchets or screwdrivers, how many do they need that? But it's always something,
Or they need new.
Yep, they need new. Old stuff's wore out.
Or you're going out to the call and getting all the new people anyway, which is very smart of you, by the way. I think that's a very.
I enjoy my time out there.
Idea.
It's a good time because they have a tool
they
show
call
day.
that with drug dealers something like just give them a little taste.
Yeah, that's exactly
Give 'em a
it.
little taste.
First one's free, buddy.
That's funny.
No, and it's definitely changed, every year because I see the same age of kids every year, and it's just, with the trade schools and everything, the kids are changing. It's not like what it was. Even when I started 8 years ago, it's definitely done some goofy things. COVID did some goofy things to the kids in high schools and stuff like that.
Speaking of that, I didn't have a question on that on here. I should just make that a normal question.
COVID.
Yeah. How did that affect?
It was weird. So my twins were born in January of 2020, right before it happened. So when this was starting to come, like, that's nerve-wracking as a new dad. Like, that was actually, it was scary. We didn't really know how to prep or what I should do. I would literally come home, leave my shoes outside, walk straight into our bathroom and shower before. My wife would never let me touch anything for them first few months. We didn't know.
Right.
I was nervous. We kind of even had discussions like, hey, if shops start shutting down, we're going to cut days back and move stuff around. Like, what do we do? We're going to shut down. I think it was 50% of our shops. If 50% of the shops shut down, we're going to close, we'll just figure something out. I didn't know what we were really going to do. But it got busy, and we got really busy during COVID. People got their little stimmy checks and they started paying their bills off and they wanted more, and shops somewhat got busier because people were sitting at home and, I've been waiting.
I want to do this project. I want to do that project.
Or like, I've been meaning to put tires on my car forever, or this needs done or that needs done. Shops got busier in a sense, and it was like we got busier, and it was like, oh man. And then the rules and stipulations started coming out, and then they started cracking down. So we were considered essential and everything like that, and I had paperwork and all that stuff for it. But then shops started putting mandates on us. Like, I had one shop made me sign paperwork. If I leave the state, I am no longer allowed to come back to their shop for like a month. So there was weird stuff and like goofy rules. So I couldn't walk into there was probably a dozen shops I could not walk into, but I could text one of the guys there and say, hey, I'm sitting out front, and the guys would all come out. I couldn't walk into their shop and touch anything, but they can come out and touch everything on the tool truck.
I was at a place that had some weird ass shit like that, and I was like, "This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard."
It was so.
Like, we can't let our drivers come in here.
Yeah,
get out.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm
we
not.
have to be human at some point.
I was the guy that's like, if you got to use the bathroom, I really don't give a shit. Somebody else can deal with it. Mm-hmm. I'm just this guy. I'm not wearing a mask. I'll never wear a mask. You do you, buddy.
Yep. So I had to wear a mask at some of the shops, and it was like, I hated it, but it was just like, I need to make money.
Right. Yeah, you got to do it.
Do what you got to do.
So yeah, there were some shops that would make it so the techs had to stand outside of my truck and ask me for like, hey, I want this pry bar. I was supposed to have rubber gloves and a mask on and sanitize it down.
In
my own truck. Sanitize it down and hand it to them and re-sanitize it when I put it back on my truck. That was the same company that said I couldn't leave the state. So it was a little nerve-wracking.
Was that a corporate company?
Yeah, very corporate.
Yeah. You have more patience than I do.
So I do.
There's zero chance I do. I would lose my life over that.
And there were some shops they're just like, hey, no, you're not coming here. There was a couple of shops I didn't go to for like 6 months. And I text the guys like once a month, like, hey, what's going on? Nope, still can't come. So yeah, just kind of crazy that way. COVID was a weird time.
It's weird.
In the tool industry.
Any shops close?
No, not really. COVID did hurt a couple shops, but no one, I don't think around Norfolk really
due to that. I mean,
correct. Yeah. No, I don't think so. I don't think it hurt anybody enough where they ever shut down. I'm just trying to think of anybody. Not really, but it was like I said, it was just so weird, with just everything going on. We didn't know. The traffic was great. God, I enjoyed driving the truck around.
I'm sure.
Yeah, in the morning, it was weird. You'd come down 13. Imagine 13th Street at 8:00 in the morning. There's not a car in front of you and not a car behind you.
We were still open.
Yeah.
I was here, so I mean, I remember that. There wasn't.
It was
much
so
on.
crazy.
Yeah, I never not went anywhere.
Yeah.
I went. I worked all the time and then went everywhere, and I didn't give a shit.
Yeah. Well, that's eventually what it came down to. Kind of going back to racing in 2020 when everything happened, South Dakota was the only state in the country that was racing. And up in Sioux City and Jefferson, up in that area, there was the race up there. They just started racing. The government
With fans?
Yeah. Yeah, they had. I don't think so with fans. I think you had to be in the pits and you're supposed to social distance and everything and wear a mask.
But no, it's okay.
Yeah.
So they were still doing the event.
Yeah, the governor just said, "Yep, have at it." And it was crazy, and it was pay-per-view. My God, I can only imagine the money they made off of that thing. But eventually, it was just like, I want to go race. Here we are in
I think I remember hearing about that dirt track racing being on TV and people watching it.
Oh, yeah. I think we paid $25, $30, maybe even $40 for it, but it was like a live sporting event. Like,
right.
I'll gladly pay that to watch something at that point in time.
So, they probably did make a killing on that.
Yeah. And we went up there one weekend. I just said, screw it. I don't care if somebody finds out. I just need to go race.
Right.
And the cars up there, oh my God, there were so many people that came from everywhere to race. I mean,
I'm sure the pit crews were bigger.
yeah, that's exactly. Oh
people in
yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, we were parking cars in the parking lot. They spaced like each trailer. I was 6 foot apart. Because that's a magic number.
Yeah.
So, but there were so many people trying to shut it down. They were just trying to do whatever they could to get it in. Enough people were just at that point in time in May and June. We were all just fed up with it.
Right.
So no, COVID was a weird year for us, but like I said, we got busier.
So it's probably a good year for you.
It was. I can't complain.
Most every business person that has come on this podcast has said they did well through COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think anybody's had a negative impact from
They
it.
found a way to get well.
We had to get creative and stuff like that for sure.
District and 411, I mean, they had to work their way through it.
Yeah.
I mean, it obviously put extra, and just like you, that it put undue stress and
Agreed.
you just had to find a way through it. But we were lucky in Nebraska where, I mean,
It wasn't California.
the government didn't put people out of business. I mean, in California, I mean, they literally put people out of business.
They did, yeah.
If you would have been there, do you think you could have hung out? Like, would you have been able to make it a year?
I know trucks didn't make it. They lowered through corporate. We're supposed to, there's a certain number, like you need to buy this much from us, kind
like
of
a quota?
Yeah, kind of thing. So they lowered that way down. And there were guys that didn't make that quota, which was crazy to us, like, hey, we're busy. But I know guys that, older generation that were a little more nervous because it was them getting sicker compared to us in our early 30s and stuff like that. I wasn't worried, I don't know if I've ever had COVID. I've only been tested one time. We went to a NASCAR race in California. That opened my eyes. We went to that 2 years ago, and that was in 21. And man, had to wear the mask and do all this everywhere. We didn't
surprised. Where was it at?
LA.
Oh,
So we still had to get like tested and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was
should
so
have went
goofy.
down south. You would have been fine.
I know it was a race, and we really wanted to go to it and be a part of it. It was in the LA Coliseum where they did
Oh.
it. It was the coolest,
I'm
funnest
sure it
thing,
was.
man. It was a good time. But one of my buddy, he did get the vaccination, but he forgot his Vax card at our hotel. This is how crazy it is. Forgot his Vax card, but he had a picture of it when he first got it. He showed that to the lady to get in because I had to show proof that I was a negative test. I had to wear a wristband that I'd been tested and I was negative. I got tested on site. It was a 15-minute test, and the only time I've ever been tested for it. And he showed him a picture like, hey, this is my Vax card. And they're like, oh, yeah, go. It's like, how does that work?
I did that so I was in Denver, and it had been 21. Me, my brother, our buddy from high school, and his brother or another buddy. There's 4 of us. All the same Vax card. The Vax card was whited out with a new name on it. On a phone.
Yep.
All use the same one. Like,
Yep.
God.
GTFO.
Yeah, like-
oh my God.
Nope. I'm glad nothing stuck. Like the regulations, especially with the flying and everything like that, man, that was a pain.
Well, so some places are going to go back to it.
So it seemed like St. Louis, they tried, and
I
they're
don't
like,
think it's going to fly.
Yeah,
It's not going to fly, but they're going to try.
Oh, yeah. 100% they're going to try.
yeah, it's just a control thing, I think. That's my view on it.
Okay, I'm going to take a pee break. I made it an hour and a half.
It's good.
Give me a minute. Okay, we're back. We had to pee. That was another. I made it an hour 30 this time. So
I was impressed.
thanks, man. Appreciate it. You said you weren't going to crack your beer till because you thought you had to pee a little bit too.
Yeah, so I was waiting. So yeah, we're probably on the downhill slide.
That's good. That's good. So COVID, we talked a little bit about. Is there anything else you wanted to go through on COVID?
No, I'm just. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad we realized that we
Over quotations.
Yeah. Oh yeah, over. Yeah, essentially.
Till the next pandemic.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. You know, it's just a bunch of that stuff we don't need.
Do you have faith that people will see through stuff a little more and be a little more resistant? Or
I think so. I think it's opened people's eyes. I think everything that's gone on in the last few years, it's just, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but like,
Oh, please do.
Well, pretty much every conspiracy turns out to be true.
that's anymore. That's exactly it. You know, it's always something. You know, there was all them food places were burning, or chicken coops and stuff were burning down. You know, it's just like, well, what are we covering up here? What are we doing there? You know, like I don't go hunt the information out, but it just seems weird. You know, I hope people start asking more questions, you know, to find out the truth and do their research and stuff. Don't believe everything you see on Facebook.
That's
either.
what we try to do on the other podcast.
Yeah.
Work at it.
No, you guys have on that podcast too. It's opened my eyes on a few things that I just don't. I'm not a big news person and stuff like that. But yeah, just open your eyes and go do your own research and stuff like that.
That's kind of what we push to, is just to just bring it to your attention.
Form your own opinion on it.
I'm gonna give you my opinion. You can take it or leave it. I don't really. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. I just want you to know that this is going on. You make your own opinion on what is happening.
Exactly.
And then read it. I think more critical thinking in this world does everybody better.
Oh yeah, you can't
Think for yourselves.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh well, my wife's aunt said this on Facebook or posted this and that. No, you just got to go do your own research on this.
Well, some people are believing memes.
Oh yeah, there's always that.
So meme cultures. It might be my favorite thing in the world.
I really enjoy it.
So funny.
Oh, it's so good.
I get you talk about FOMO or whatever, which I had no idea what FOMO was when Jose was talking about it. It took me even for another, I don't know, it was like a month. I think the next time
It took you
did
that long to figure it out?
I think the next time you brought it up, I was like, all right, now I got to fucking Google FOMO and figure out what the fuck that means. It's like, I have no idea what FOMO is.
That's awesome.
But now, I literally had never heard
Why didn't
that.
you ask?
I don't know. I was just like,
Oh my goodness.
because I didn't want to sound stupid.
No
But
dumb
here I am.
questions. No dumb questions.
I tried to tell him that, but he's still. I find
literally-
this stuff months later.
I don't know.
I had never
Dealing with
heard-
college kids and the slang they use, I do ask them. I'm like, guys, yeah, like,
I have
what?
no idea what that means.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about?
I try to keep up on it. So Christian's at that age where I'm starting to hear new stuff
Oh,
that
gotcha.
they're saying. So I'm trying to. It helps me
Especially
keep
with
up
gaming, with him gaming and stuff like that. Oh yeah, there's a big
Well, even
ton
just
of it.
me being in the gaming culture,
You get a little bit of it.
I hear watching Twitch or whatever. I hear I'm like, what the fuck did they just say?
Yeah. I heard that and I was like, okay, whatever. Kind of moving on. And then, so now I get that with memes. When I see a meme, I'm like, this one doesn't, I don't.
Yeah.
And then I get that FOMO feeling. I'm like, now I got to figure out what this is.
Maybe I'm getting old.
So I
God.
can laugh with it. I love
Maybe
I
we
love
don't want to
meme
see
culture.
Vance's search history on his phone.
It's a lot of Urban Dictionary.
You have to in the meme world.
Jesus Christ. Okay, let's get
What
back. Let's
does
get
this
back on topic.
It's a great tool, man.
I know it is. Do you have any other ventures or projects that you're working on that you're willing to discuss with us? Anything in the future here that you foresee?
So I don't know of anything in the future. Like I said, we're doing some storage units. So I mean, just something we kind of branched out on that I enjoy. You know, I get to use my Ranger and I go move some snow, and same thing, and listen to the podcast, kind of jam out for a little bit. Kind of fun. We did flip a house last year.
Really?
That was an interesting process between a married couple and everything like that.
You guys did the work, or
Not everything. So we hired some stuff out. There's some stuff I'm just not good at, and we found out exactly what those things were. But yeah,
probably pretty quickly.
Yeah, very fast, actually. Well, I don't know. We'd get into some projects and I'd be like, see, I told you I can't do this. I tried to explain this. But no, we bought a house and literally gutted this entire thing.
In Pierce?
Yeah. Yep. And that's living in Pierce. It's always making the community better. And that was kind of like my dad kind of pushed us like, hey, they're going to sell this house. You guys could buy it. You know, we discussed everything from renting to tearing it down to turning duplexes, all this, all that. So we bought this house, literally gut it to its studs. the craziest thing I'll remember doing on this thing, we shingled the house. One of the first things we did, and they took 4 layers of shingles off. Jesus. My wife and one of the contract guys went downstairs, and one of the braces was laying on the floor, and they're like, well, that was there. And what they figured out is there was so much weight on the roof that it lifted the whole house up.
Oh my God.
So it was kind of crazy. We ended up tearing down the old garage. They built a new one there. But yeah, we literally shingled, sided, windows, put an extra bathroom in this place, redid all the floors in it. I mean, it was about a 1.5 year project. And the worst part was I was racing in Arizona, and I get this picture of my wife literally next to a sold sign that she bought a house. And I'm like, oh my God, I got some questions. So she had always kind of discussed she wanted to flip houses and stuff like that. And it was a long, drawn out process. We didn't make near as much money as we kind of anticipated, but we built the house knowing like if we had to move in, we could move in.
Right.
Like we did it right. I feel like, some people flip house and go cheap and this and that. No, we took our time and did everything right. But yeah, that was quite the interesting venture. I don't think I want to get into any more house flipping though.
A lot of people do it that way, though. They start to flip the house and they live in it, until they can sell it. And
well, there's tax laws and stuff like that, and there was just so much goofy stuff. And
it's not as easy as people make it seem on TikTok or
on
Snapchat
HGTV.
Or,
Oh yeah, my wife's a big HGTV person, and it's not as easy as they make it look.
The scariest part is always like finding something you weren't expecting to find that's like an expensive fix.
Oh yeah, there was a little bit of that. Mm-hmm.
God, I've wanted to do it too, so I get your.
I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. Like I got really good at that, like laminate click together flooring. I spent 3 weekends of my life doing that. Started in one room in the kitchen, went out to the living room, went into the dining room, went into the bathroom. Literally the whole bottom floor. I did it. I got really good at it.
So we had I moved in with my brother. My brother bought a house in Battle Creek right before the flood in Battle Creek. Basement flooded. I lived in the basement. We took all the carpet out and we put in that click together LVP stuff, the waterproof stuff. We attempted and said, "Nah, we're gonna hire somebody." Again, it's the patience thing.
It just comes down to it.
I ain't gonna do this.
I can just sit there and I can just work. Somebody offered to come help, and I'm like, "No, I just want to do this alone."
Just let me do it.
Yep, this is perfect.
And the guy that did it, he's like, "You just got to make sure it's all put in the right way." It's like, man, you got it.
Yeah, patience and a lot of stuff.
That's why I can't flip houses, because I wouldn't want to go.
It took us like a 1.5 years of just sticking money into this thing, and it was just like then this and then that. And,
Did you end up coming ahead though?
Yeah, yep. We ended up making
just
a little bit.
Not as far as you.
Yeah, just not as far. The market was just really weird when the interest rates started. We sold it midsummer. That was right when the rates started going up and everything like that. So that hurt us and stuff.
Was it a foreclosure or anything, or just
no? There was just somebody selling it, and it would no matter what, like. The stairs didn't meet code and stuff like that, and the electrical was all that. Like,
was it like pretty close to being like condemned?
It could have been. I think it easily could have been. Like if you'd really got into it when we did, the tube and not wiring. There was didn't have that extra ground wire. Everything was 2-prong in the whole place, and the bathtub was concreted in, so we had to use sledgehammers to literally destroy the bathtub, taking it out.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So it was a good time, but I learned some stuff. Just life lessons, stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff I'd never done before, and I know how to do now, at least,
Is there anything on your bucket, maybe not projects, but is there anything on your entrepreneur bucket list that you want to do?
No.
Or something that you're like a dream thing that you'd like to be a part of?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't really got that far just because I really feel like we're still growing with what we have in the Mac Tools business. But
my mind never stops going. So
and I'm in the same way. Like I would like to put a laundromat in Pierce. We could use a laundromat. There's a few things, like I said, the Hobby Town in Norfolk. That'd be really cool to have something like that. Sioux City's got we just went up there a few weeks ago. They have what I would love to have in town, It's just time. And I'm just so busy with everything else. Time and money, yeah. That's two things we never have enough of.
Yeah, well, one you can make, the one you just lose.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah. As far as Pierce goes, did you listen to John's Hausman's?
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing he said that really stuck with me was that, you take a building on Main Street in Pierce and you make it look nice and people are going to love you forever. Do you see that as the case?
Oh, yeah. Exactly. When anybody can do anything downtown, any place, it kind of brightens it up. There were some places in Pierce that just kind of laid vacant there. Not a lot going on, but our downtown seems to be getting better.
I don't go to Pierce too often. We were going to Jay's place. Kai obviously worked there for years.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like some things are leaving.
Yeah.
are you seeing kind of an uptick in?
So I think it is getting better. We've got a new housing development up kind of by the high school and everything like that. So they're building some new houses, which was good. Before that, there really wasn't a lot of new houses being built in Pierce over the last few years. So that's kind of getting more popular. So I feel like people, they want to work in Norfolk and live in these small towns. And I definitely feel like the small towns are growing and stuff like that.
We talk a lot about that, actually.
Yeah, they've got some good things going for them. We're going to get like a big old splash pad out at the park. They're working for that. Zion School, which my kids go to school at, they're adding on or building a new front location with some new classrooms and everything, which is good because that place is really old. So that'll be really good. So I feel like things are on the up and up. A couple of the old kind of rundown foreclosed house, not really foreclosed, but older rundown houses, guys are fixing up. I kind of feel like we showed people of Pierce what we could do. My wife's a little bit more involved with the community than I am just because I'm always working and stuff. So people know her, but like we took a house that didn't look that good and made it look really nice. So we kind of showed people, hey, you can do this. You can update these houses and make them look nice. And I don't know if we started it, but it feels like in the last,
It can happen.
Yeah, year and a half, they're fixing up some of these places.
I wish that would happen somewhat down here
I agree.
in Norfolk. There's some beautiful homes, even just right over here.
Mhm.
Kenningstein's got some really nice ones.
Oh, yeah.
There's some good ones back in here. I'm trying to think of Elm, Vergis, beautiful homes. I'm trying to think, is it
Some of the older homes are right around in here. The pillar types, the colonial style homes.
Elm's this way?
Elm is
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Prospect.
Yeah.
Prospects over there.
Prospect, there's two beautiful like brick homes right down here on Prospect that have, over my time being here, have obviously kind of gotten run down, but they're beautiful original homes. I think that if somebody would just go in there and put
Just
some
fix
money
them
into it,
up.
it'd be
Yeah.
great.
Like,
Be great.
mm-hmm. Well, and just downtown, I mean, just see what it's done in Norfolk here. You know, it's just crazy. Just me driving downtown. I
Be
don't.
careful.
I know.
Some people don't like that.
Oh, trust me, I hear it all. Yep.
It's a
I have,
hot button topic.
Yeah,
here
I have a
on-
few customers. I like it.
here on Touching Base.
Yep.
We bring it out
Yeah,
on
I-
both sides.
Yeah.
I respect everybody's opinion. I don't really care either way.
We haven't seen any flack yet on any of the posts.
Yeah.
Based off of some of the podcasts that we've had.
Of them.
A few. But I
nothing
expected more.
vicious.
I don't know if
Nothing's-
people are just trying to be nice to us or
Yeah.
what, but
No, I know. I trust me. I hear it all from customers all over town and everything. Why are we spending money on this? Well, it does look nice. I want people to come live here. I want economy to boom. You know, the way I look at high tide rises all ships.
yeah. We always talk about if Norfolk's doing well, then Pierce, Madison,
Correct.
Stanton,
Everybody's doing good,
Battle
you know?
Creek. Yeah.
I have arguments on certain things, and I voice them. But again, I think everybody's like we talked about. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And
Some of the things are a little goofy. I'm not going to lie. Some of the weird stuff that we spend money on, but you're always going to get that
everybody's
stuff.
trying to make something better. We're just going about it different ways.
Yep.
Feels like I think we're lucky in this area. There's not a lot of nefarious stuff going on. I mean, if we were in a different state, neighboring state to the west, or just different things, there'd definitely be some nefarious stuff going on. But you just
Wrong
kinda,
podcast.
I know it's the wrong podcast. I just spent a week in Denver, so
I can only imagine.
So other than that, nothing really
No,
you got your eye on?
No, nothing. Like I said, if the opportunity came up, like the storage units, it was like literally one day to the next. Like, oh yeah, let's sit down and talk about this. But I'm just so busy with everything else, and I think there's still room for me to grow with this. But
So you're pretty much going to have to get to the point where, like you were talking about, get
Correct.
out of driving
to be able to do anything
different.
else, yeah. Yep. I mean, it's 14, 16-hour days. It's really tough to fit anything else in there. And
How much more racing you got left in you?
I'd like to think about 3-4 years, maybe till I'm about 40. If I can do that and still stay competitive and maybe tone it down a little bit there. But yeah, my kids will be, like they're going to be 4, if they want to get into it, stuff like that. They're getting older.
It'd be good to have you still in it if they want to get into it, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
Be easier.
Yep. I want them to come. We have a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old, so they're getting.
Do they enjoy it? Do they enjoy coming and watching?
Yeah, they do. They don't come a ton just because it's so tough with kids and being there all night, in a sense, But they're not super into it. But they're not as competitive. I don't know if I don't see a lot of the competitiveness in the kids like when we were young. Playing football and stuff like that.
I hated losing.
Christian's
I
very
hate losing.
competitive.
Yeah.
I hate losing
gaming.
anything. Like, I don't care what it is. I just, like, I'm not going to play if I'm not trying to
That's
win.
exactly that's the way I look at it. It doesn't matter what I
I
do.
will lose. And
It's a
be all
basket
right, but
weaving
I don't
contest.
want to.
I want to win it.
Yeah. Kai will tell me, why is he slamming his desk in there? I'm like, because he lost.
He died.
He's getting upset. So just, I'm going to let him do it until he breaks something. So
Yep.
at least he's
You start
competitive.
throwing
That's
controllers.
Yeah,
and
we don't
maybe
do
we
that. He
stop
knows that, but
Yeah.
he might slam his desk a few times.
And that's the thing. Like my 9-year-old, she is the least competitive person I've ever seen in my life. Like I can't motivate her. We tried go-kart racing with her, and she's just like, I'm just here to have fun, and I get that. I want you to have fun, but like, I don't want to lose every week. Like lead some
It's a
laps.
waste of money.
Well, that and time. It's like, man,
Just
I
get
can
a remote control for it.
Yeah, like,
you can
oh,
do it. No,
man.
you can do the controls from.
we were doing goofy stuff. Because she'd hold the brake down when she was racing. She'd hold it down, and it's like you could literally see this thing smoking as she's going around the track. And they're like, "Your engine's blowing up." I'm like, "No, that's just the brakes. You ain't gonna be able to touch that for a while." So no, it's just something.
She just
like
didn't want
that.
to go fast, or
No, she did good, and then she flipped,
oh, that'll do it.
and I couldn't get the go-kart refired. And I still think to this day, had I been able to get that go-kart refired, she could have just went back out there.
But
She'd
she
have got
started
it.
thinking about
So now
it.
she's scared. Yeah.
Yep, it happens.
get
She's
it.
a young kid. Big
Yeah,
wrecks. They say
I
that in
get it.
NASCAR, that big wreck kind of ruins some people.
There's that thing. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Like you get bucked off a horse, you got to get back on. And
Exactly.
if you don't get on at that point, that's when you, like you said, you miss that point. Like I gotta get this going. So
That's where the fear sets
she's
in.
gonna go, and then she would have happened. It would have happened. Just get back right back on that horse and go. I mean, that's a real. I mean, that's a cowboy thing, but it's a real thing.
Oh, it's true.
It's
Mental,
just the way
pure
it is.
mental.
You get your bell rung, or like you get tackled in football hard and it hurts. Get up there and do it again.
Yep.
Like just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot. Like you just got to get that first get back. You just got to get. Let's go one time.
I still think if we could have just got it running, just got back out there, we'd been all right. But that kind of ruined her. But
So we're gonna get political. Oh, go ahead.
I got one quick question. Do you have anybody younger under you that you're kind of a neighbor kid or
actually, I do.
friends' kids or anything that you're
one of my
kind
friends'
of
kids,
teaching?
he's 13. He actually goes to school with my daughter. His dad is one of my good friends, and just happened randomly. I think he was at the races with one of his buddies, and he lives 3 blocks away from my parents' shop. We're working on the race car, and I was like, "Hey, if you want to come down sometime," that kid, he busts his ass. He'll come down. It sounds stupid to wash tires on a dirt track car, but we wash tires. We get them clean. Dirt absorbs moisture, so we try and get them clean. That way we can inspect everything, make sure the tires are all going to be good. He'll pound dents, anything I need this kid to do. Obviously, I can't let him do some of the more technical side of things, but it just frees time up for me. But yeah, that's it's really good to see at least, one of these kids young and involved and wanting to do it and work hard at it. It's pretty cool. I think he did some go-kart racing when he was young, and then they got busy with sports and stuff like that, and he wasn't able to do anymore. But no, I have high hopes for this kid. I really hope he'll want to come back this year and still work on the car. And like I said, winning cures everything. So definitely helps when we run up front. And except the one race we won this year, he wasn't there.
And I know along those lines, we don't need to talk about your financials, but would you ever consider taking a kid like that and financing his journey?
There's definite possibility that we could look at that, just so I'm involved in a sense. Like I said, I'm getting older. Wrecks hurt more. Working on a car hurts more. Just time. But that's definitely something, that's been in the back of my mind. If something were to happen, like we have everything, you know.
That'd be really cool. I think that'd be a really cool idea.
There is guys out there that do drive cars for guys around. They're the owner, and they just have a hired driver essentially. It's not uncommon, but it's not super common.
It's cool. I like that. It'd be a way to still stay in the business and
bring somebody else up new, and
you can keep doing it until you're 80 years old.
Yeah.
All right, you good? Political.
Not a super political person, but
That's
I'm ready
okay.
for this.
You're gonna be now.
Yep.
With an election year coming up, how do you feel about where the state of our country is right now, and do you feel that we are being well represented at the federal and state levels?
So the state, I don't mind so much. I think there's a few things we could do. I'd love some online sports betting. I wish we could just fix that in a hurry. The federal level just kind of sucks right now. Like I said, I don't get super political on a lot of stuff, but it just everything seems harder now. back a few years ago, life was a lot better.
It's almost like elections have consequences.
Yeah, it's like kind of weird like that. I think people maybe have learned. We'll kind of see where this goes this year. I don't know.
You have more faith than I do.
I don't know. I am Republican, so I kind of know where you guys probably know where my vote's going to go.
Yeah. Have you watched any of the debates? Do you have
No, I watched them back in 2020 probably.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. I know you guys talked about like all the fighting is just stupid. I really don't care about your pat. Like, what are you going to do for me today? Yeah, everybody makes mistakes in the past. What are you going to do for me today? How are you going to help me?
Right. Did you pay attention to the caucuses?
I started to watch it, but my kids were just there.
Yeah.
So I started, but I never really could focus in on everything.
Did you see the results?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So Trump won all but one county.
Yep. And it was like one vote, wasn't it?
It was It was one vote in Johnson County, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is where the University of Iowa was at. So.
Yep. No, it'll be interesting this year. I'm really hoping that people kind of get smart, After the last election, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but man, some goofy stuff went on. So.
Yeah, we'll call it. That's a good word for it. Goofy.
Yeah, I'll call it goofy.
Yeah.
Without giving away who you're gonna, you don't got to say who you're gonna vote for. So it was Trump, and then DeSantis and Haley were like within a few percentage points.
Trump had him by 20 points.
Right, but
those two. They were close.
22 to 21 or 23
they were both
to 20.
in the 20s. And then Vivek was at 8% basically,
which surprised me actually with some of the stuff we saw.
He went from 0 to 8. Yeah, I mean,
so he dropped out.
I've been a huge Vivek fan. I just didn't.
We both have, and you've heard that.
Yeah.
How would you feel if he ends up being the vice presidential candidate with Trump?
So I don't think he'll be the vice president. But.
I don't think he's going to be either.
I don't think so either. I'm hypothetically.
I don't know much about what he really stands for. I know he's really starting to back Trump and everything like that, but I don't know what his views are. I mean, I imagine
I guess we probably didn't cover a lot of.
Yeah, we haven't listened to a lot of his speeches and everything. He's probably, of all the candidates other than Trump, there's more content out there for you that you could listen to. I mean, he's been
where he actually gives his take.
He did a long form with Patrick
does he actually do
David. Long
form stuff. That's impressive because you don't see a lot of that stuff.
Between him and really, there's no other person besides him and RFK that have done it. RFK did a bunch of long form stuff. Vivek has done all kinds of long form podcasts. He's been on.
And he doesn't let interviewers.
Sean Ryan. He's been on Patrick McDavid. He's been on. I mean, he's been all over, and he's got really good views. I mean, he's a brilliant guy. I think. I just don't see him as the vice president. He's definitely going to be involved with Trump at some level, and Trump as much said so today. He said he's going to be working with us for a long time.
Yeah. I don't think Haley's going to get very far.
I think Haley's being backed by Democrats extremely hard.
So too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've said that a little bit. We haven't fully gone into it, but yeah, we think it's a Democrat in disguise.
I think
that's something like that. Yeah,
I believe it's there, and I'm foreshadowing half of my content for
that's okay.
Useless tomorrow, but
this isn't coming out until next week.
Okay, well, you'll hear it on Useless too. I feel like this is Haley is the Democrats' plan to get rid of Biden. So Democrats are going to vote in all the blue states in the Republican primary, and hopefully they can get the delegates to get Trump out.
So there's going to be some goofy stuff because obviously they don't want him in there.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to get him off ballots.
Everything. Yeah. And that spends, again, you take away our freedom. Like, that's our right to vote. If I want to vote for Daffy Duck, I want to vote for Daffy Duck.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't care what you feel like, but let me vote for who I want to fucking vote for.
There's no reason to take anybody off a ballot. I thought that was kind of shit, and I'm glad they took it off.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the systems that are in place still work in today's time?
Like the two-party system?
Mm-hmm.
No, not really. I don't know what I would ever do to change it. It's been like this for so long. How do you fix it at this point?
Why do you feel like it doesn't work?
Nothing against, I'm obviously a Republican, but I will never, because I'm a Republican and I just feel like there's such a separate between the two parties, I will never really listen to anything any of the Democrats ever have to say because I don't I just lump them into one big group. So I don't ever listen to anything any of the Democrat party ever really has to say, because it's just like, well, I know I'm going to vote red.
Well, most of it's bad.
Right. Well,
Not
that's
good
exactly
anyway,
it. Right. But like, I just automatically assume that for the most part.
Yeah. There's like I've talked about RFK Jr. a little bit, and Vance has given me some pushback on him for obvious reasons. But of any candidate that's ever been on that side, and now he's not anymore. He's independent.
He's independent now because they wouldn't allow him.
They wouldn't allow him in there, but he was originally a Democratic candidate. And obviously he has some things but it would have been one that if there wasn't a good Republican candidate, he would have been one I would have crossed the line for.
Seeing if that was somebody where that, like, we didn't have the party system, where like you were just voting for a person, like I might entertain,
Well, he's also against guns. There's some things,
right. There's some things like,
that he
right.
wasn't, that Vance brought to my attention that I didn't fully understand.
And there's always going to be some of that.
I don't hate the guy. He just has some views that I think need reckoning. And I've listened to some more, and I think he's softened his stance on some things. But the climate change stuff, I can't. That's, to me, is right on board with that. The Second Amendment shit, like you got to stop with this. And I mean, I
thought he was big in some climate change stuff.
Yeah, he is.
Well, he started as a climate change lawyer, a climate lawyer. He was an environmental lawyer. He
did some Hudson River studies.
Yeah, that's kind of what he made his bones on. And extremely intelligent guy. And he, I will say, and I respect him wholeheartedly, he was there on the vax. I mean, the vax stuff, he was right on. He was good. He was intelligent with, and I'm on his side on that. But he made comments that he believes people that don't follow climate change laws or mandates or whatever need to be put in prison. I'm not going to listen to fucking AOC on what she thinks is a climate change or climate issue. How we're going to fix this shit. No.
And nobody's perfect. There hasn't been a perfect candidate.
No.
That's exactly it. And term limits, I feel like, would maybe change some of that. I'd love to see that, obviously.
I did see our local representative wants to increase term limits here in the state of Nebraska, so that's a really shitty thing. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, that's a bad thing.
Who's that?
Dover.
I don't think anybody should be a career politician.
No, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
We just see it right now in the White House.
It's just corruption. Like just money. It's all money and power.
It is. And just seeing
Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, never done anything in the private sector, have only been in the public sector.
But it's just seeing how much their view, like you go back and look at something he did in the 90s and some of the speeches that he gave. Now it's like, okay, all right.
Come on.
You've been voluntold what to say. That's crazy. Oh, yeah, I agree with you.
I don't know whatever it would take to fix at this point. It's almost like we're too far gone. And the problem is, for the next 60, 70, even if like today we'd be like, all right, no parties. For the next 60, 70 years during our lifetime, we'll be like, well, he's still a Democrat. He's still a Republican. It's just like.
It would happen that way, yeah. Unless they actually, like, the thing is, they need to speak on their actual, like, issues and what they're going to do.
What are you going to do to help me?
Yeah.
As a small business owner, in Nebraska, like, what?
Get out of Washington.
Yeah. Exactly. What are you going to do to help us?
Get back to the places that you're representing, and only go to Washington. And like it was only designed for them to be in Washington or wherever for like a month or whatever. I can't remember the days, but they weren't supposed to spend the whole year there. They were supposed to be with their constituents doing their job, not as a senator, not as a congressman, nothing like that. And we've gotten away from that. Now they just go live in Washington, and it's just a cesspool, and it just eats at your core, and it seems like it destroys moral fiber of the people we're sending there.
They're all friends.
That's the thing.
Like all their kids go to school together.
It's all. It's not
they
like
all live in the
Republican
same
and Democrat
fucking
schools.
areas. How can you scratch my back?
Yeah, exactly. And I talk about the uniparty a lot, and I think. That is our biggest fight towards the two-party system, is the uniparty, because it's them versus us.
Yeah,
we send them there, but they don't do anything for us.
No.
So,
and it's just like we talked about at the local government side, how I thought that nothing against Josh, but him running unopposed twice wasn't a good thing.
No,
I agree.
You need somebody to go against you.
People bitch all the time. Well, change it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, now there's going to potentially be 3 candidates. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. See, I don't follow that. Like I don't follow the Norfolk race and
I don't
everything
blame
like that.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my dad's, he's the mayor of Pierce. I don't know if you actually knew that.
I
anymore.
didn't know that. Yeah.
So it's
That's awesome.
yeah, it's a little interesting there. So I get a little side of it from just the small community and everything like that.
I wonder how big. I mean, obviously, there's a little bit of a difference handling it, but it's probably pretty close. Handling a smaller community to handling a community like Norfolk.
He's probably just got more people essentially to work with on some of that projects and stuff like that.
Actually, your dad probably works more. No
Well-
offense, no offense, Josh. Yeah. Anyway, he'd be fine if I said that to him to his face. But yeah, so I mean, the local part of it, and I don't want to get into this too much because I really didn't want to announce too much. But one candidate will be coming on. The other one has not wanted to, as of right now. I'm not going to name any names of who's what, but I'm hoping to get all the city council candidates on here, along with, and we can even get like the local cities too. Pierce Stanton.
I'm sure we'd
Belgrade.
be able to.
We should get your dad on.
He'd talk a lot. He'd talk a lot more than I do.
He'd be a good one.
Yeah. He's been around for a while, just as a small business owner. And then, just the mayor through.
How long has he been there?
I think when did the floods happen? 19?
19.
Yeah, so around 19.
That was kind of like that happened like just after he got elected.
Oh, so he got
perfect.
thrown right into it.
Yeah, it was a mess. That was not a good time.
How's that been for him? I mean, has he enjoyed it?
I think so. I think he enjoys it. You know, he's a lifelong citizen. He's literally lived there his entire life. His dad built a house there. And they've been there forever. So, you know, what better person would you want leading the community? And he's for Pierce. He wants to better Pierce, you know, like everything he feels like he does to, you know, the housing district up there to build new homes and help the schools out. You know, they're big on helping Zion out with their addition and the splash pad. That's kind of been, you know, something he's been really pushing and stuff like that, you know, and I'm sure there's the same thing that with downtown here, you know, people are like, why would we spend money on that? Well, it's like, we want people to live here. You know,
Is he getting some flack? Do you see a lot of that?
Yeah, I look on Facebook, and I don't know if he sees any of that. I know he's on Facebook and stuff like that, but if it's just like people just don't see the big picture sometimes, I feel like, with some of that
We
stuff.
talk about that a lot on this podcast, too.
Like, it's just so closed, narrow-minded on some of that.
Yeah. They just don't see where their money's going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or they don't think it's an important thing. But I mean,
Like,
It's a tough line to, and I've fought with this a lot, even on this podcast or the podcasts. I guess I talk about it a lot. It's tough. It's a fine line to fight, like, because I'm a small government guy. I look at it as private industry will do more with money than any public entity. And so it's hard to find that, to fight that deal to where it's like, yes, I get it. It's nice. It's cool. But we're spending the money, the public money on that when, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't be giving that to the public money. Like maybe, and I get it a lot. Everybody, the argument people say is, well, it's going to get spent somewhere. Somebody's going to spend it. I get it. So I'm talking on a systematic issue. Let's try to fix the systematic issue at the top. Like, stop. Let's not make it able for somebody to spend that money.
he wants to cut it off at the head, which
I know
we all
that's-
do.
Yeah, some of the grants
And
and
I
stuff
know
like
it's-
that.
I'm not speaking in something that's feasible, but I'm trying to get to that point. Like, I understand
It's
it.
feasible, just it takes time.
It takes time. I'm at that point. Like, let's cut down at the top so that, we have to spend it because somebody else will, or somebody else will. Well, let's make it to where it's not there for somebody to spend.
But
Maybe
it's also going to take everybody to be on the same page.
I
The
know,
whole
I
country.
understand that. It's going to take a lot.
And we are the most divided
Hey,
on all aspects.
so you're saying
that
there's
we've
a
ever been.
chance?
Well, there's always a chance.
There's a chance.
There's a
always a chance.
So
as long
you're
as
saying there's
they
a
quit
chance.
dividing people, the more division that we keep getting.
Oh, it's a lot.
Every
The
day
worse
there's
it's
something
gonna
else. Every day.
Yep. And that's frustrating. It's super frustrating. And then you go meet, and I talked about, I was in Denver all week in Colorado, and I met great people. Don't believe the same views. They don't have the same views as I do, but you sit in a room with them and they're all, they're not bad people. Like nobody is, it's just like, why can't we just have this conversation? Like, why
Why
can't
can't
we just
be friends?
Just be civil about everything.
Just be civil, like,
and compromise.
and think about somebody besides
don't
your
use that word.
compromise.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. Zach's been really big on that.
I am.
Or
he just doesn't want to. The thing with Vance, and I'm sure you've heard it on the podcast, is he doesn't like that word because he thinks we've compromised too much.
Right. You're just trying to give up. Like, you give an inch and they're going to take a foot.
That's what it keeps happening. So what we need is the other side to compromise a little more. That's what.
And I look at it as think about somebody besides yourself.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people they have a hard time doing it, and especially in times like this, it's difficult times. I mean, it's hard. People have a hard time paying rent, hard time paying their bills, hard time feeding their families, that type of thing. So it makes it really difficult to think of somebody besides yourself. But I think if people started thinking about other people than themselves a lot more, stupid ass laws wouldn't get passed. Like stupid ideas, stupid regulations. That would stop a lot more, because it'd be like, hey, we're doing this, but that might actually hurt like 50,000 people over here, but it's not going to hurt me.
Yeah,
so
it's good
what
for
do
our
I
state.
care?
Yeah, like
that. And I know that's just a big thing it just bugs me, and I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my little tangent there.
So where do you see yourself? We kind of talked about this a little bit. Where do you see yourself going in the future? Are you enjoying where you are? Do you see yourself ever leaving Northeast Nebraska?
No, not really. I think I'll live in Pierce probably the rest of my life.
Lifer.
I don't really see myself moving. You know, I went to Houston and Texas for college and everything, and that was pretty eye-opening being an 18-year-old kid. And I enjoyed it, but I don't think I could live there. I just like the Nebraska life. It is a little easier, a little laid back. Even though I'm really fast paced and everything like that, but I just like the communities and stuff like that. Everything that seems to be going on in a lot of the communities, like I know we just kind of talked about it, seems like everything's on the up and up.
For the most part.
Yeah, I can't complain. You know, I feel like we're in a good spot right now. Hopefully in a year, it's even better. It's going to get better and stuff like that.
That's what I keep telling all my clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just need to get through this year. Like that's just got to get through this year.
As long as the election goes well.
Mm-hmm.
Which we're hoping. We're hoping that's the way it's going to go.
I do have a
We
quick
can get
question.
some of our money back. Sorry.
I could kind of go back to the Houston thing. So what you went to school for, you're not doing.
Correct.
And I know it has helped you in what you're doing just by listening to what you've been saying. But somebody to follow in your footsteps doesn't particularly need to go that route, correct?
Correct.
They could just, you can do it without having that.
Correct.
The way you've done it. You don't need to have that. I just kind of wanted to put that out there.
No, you could literally,
bit.
as far as what I do with the Mac tools and everything, all the distributors all come from different backgrounds and stuff like that. One guy
helps you, obviously.
It does. Yep. It gives me a background of the information and stuff like that and just the general knowledge. And I use our tools, like, oh, hey, there's a special tool for this. Like, I know it's on the truck. Well, might as well go demo it and make sure it's going to work. Right. And that kind of stuff. So it does make that stuff easier, but yeah, anybody can really go out and do what I've done. It's just time, hard work, I always tell anybody I train, you always get out of it what you put into it. I feel like, and
that's anything.
Yeah, that's just anything. Just go to work and be prideful and have fun. Like, I love what I do. Working for somebody else, if you'd ever told me that, hey, you're going to have to wake up at 4 a.m. and drive to Ainsworth, I've been like, nah, not happening. Not happening. I wake up and I don't even think about it. Hop in the shower, go out on the truck, fire it up, kind of get ready for the day and gone. That's an average day on me when I drive out to Ainsworth and back to my house, driveway to driveway. It's 286 miles. I tell guys, I would never contemplate driving my truck to the Omaha airport. And I think it's shorter for me to drive to the Omaha airport than it is out to Ainsworth. That's what I remind all those guys.
Absolutely.
That's funny.
Yeah. I tell them guys all the time out there, this is not the funnest drive, but I enjoy it.
It's an easy drive.
And
I've been out there a lot.
Like I said, I kill a lot of podcasts.
My aunt lives in Ainsworth, so it's
and that's a nice little town out there too. I've only been out there since I've been on the route. I'd never been out there any other time before this, and I've been out there.
It is a nice little town.
Yeah,
I dated a girl from there for a while.
Mm-hmm. No, so it's well, like I said, yeah, I really love what I do, and I wake up every day and I don't feel like work. And then I always say that if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. And I put in some time and some effort, but I never feel like it's wasted.
Yeah.
on that side of thing.
Would you do you regret at all going down there and doing that you didn't get into the car racing deal?
No.
Or
Because it did open up some doors.
yeah,
The Top Fuel Dragster thing, that was
you
a
got
cool,
that because
unique.
of that. Yeah.
Yep, I wouldn't have got that any other way. Some friendships. I've got friends that are on professional race teams that I'm friends with on Facebook, and I, get to see what they're doing and having
Live
a good time.
vicariously through them.
Yeah, exactly, kind of a thing. And then to take what we've done there, it's just some of the lessons I learned. I don't know if I'd have got anywhere else, just because the perception. That was the owner or the instructor of the school also owned the school and everything. And what he did was he had a shop and he trained guys, and then they go work somewhere else, and then he'd hire another guy and he'd train him and then go work somewhere else. He's like, why don't I just open a school? So he really taught us as a boss mentality of, hey,
So it's on the job training, basically.
correct, almost in a sense, yeah. Show up, be clean, and take pride in your work and everything. And I've just carried all the life lessons I've got from there to what we do today, and the lessons I learned there. I'm still building my own race engines. I still get to use some of it, just not on a daily basis.
Gotcha.
That's really cool though, that you going back to the trades and how important they are.
Mm-hmm. I
played a
100%
part.
believe in trade school. Go do that. I know you guys have talked about pointless majors
Degrees.
and everything like that. Like, I don't know. It just blows my mind. I wouldn't want to spend that much on something that pointless and
I agree.
not have Garen, I'm not doing what I went to school for, but I spent far less money and
somebody on a 4-year bachelor's degree.
exactly it. Yep.
Which I did just see I saw a post somewhere that was I don't remember. I saw it in glancing on social media, so didn't do any research on it, but it was saying something that a lot of, like, half the companies they're getting rid of the bachelor degree requirements going into next year and stuff like that. So, and I think that's what we're going to, and it seems like everything's a cyclical or a pendulum swing. I feel like we're bringing the pendulum back a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
we don't need to be doing degrees. We need to be more specialized. We need to be more focused and stuff like that. And we've talked about it a lot, and like you, it's really good to have stuff like that.
Oh yeah. We need electricians, plumbers, mechanics. There's so much of that in need right now. When we were flipping our house, there was things we just couldn't find people for.
Heating and air.
Yeah.
I mean, we got back from Denver Monday night at 7:00. My parents' house. Mom walked in. We're doing chores, doing all that stuff. Getting everything unloaded out of the trailers. She comes out. The house is 45 degrees. Oh shit! It's cold. And it is what it is. And luckily, we all know where to start looking. We went looking, and you look at your vents. We had all the snow, and nothing on the vents, nothing here, nothing there. I took all the snow off they have propane on a furnace, and took the lid off the propane. I was like, well, this regulator is a little bit frosty. Maybe that's what it is. We go downstairs, kind of looking at the furnace. My brother goes, takes some warm water, puts on the regulator. We do the whole light the pilot thing, get it going, it gets popping. But, if we didn't have that, when we were on the phone or trying to get a hold of a HVAC guy, that type of thing, and we ended up getting a hold of him after we got it going. But, that's one of those issues. You're like, holy shit, 45 degrees, and it's 10 degrees out there.
It's not warming up
0
anytime
degrees
soon.
outside right now. Ooh, this is going to go fast. We got to figure this out.
Yep.
And there's not enough of those people out there.
No,
no,
not at all.
And
I got lucky with the stuff we're doing in my basement,
yeah,
but finding a contractor right now is
It's tough.
pulling
We
teeth.
went through a couple of them when we were doing our flip house and stuff like that. It's just we couldn't get them to literally. They had so many projects that they just
can't
couldn't
show
show up.
Yep.
It took one of them, the guys, 3 weeks to build a staircase. It's just that's a day job, and and people don't realize that. And you can make good money, and there's good benefits. You know, I know one of my customers works for a local trash company, and he 100% plans on retiring there because the benefits are so good.
sure.
He's like, I make good money, and then when I retire, what they match and all this other benefits I get, I could probably retire at 55. You think somebody in a
Like driving truck trash, or
like a trash truck
see,
stuff.
people think that that's like a
it's a good
Shit
paying
job.
job.
Yeah.
It's
They're
a
good
tough
job.
job.
Yeah,
it's a
it is
tough job, yeah.
especially this week with all the weather.
Yeah,
and everything like that.
it's a miserable job. I mean, you work, but a lot of people don't they don't want to put the work in for the good job or for the money. And yeah, I get it. Everybody wants to work easier for more money. I'm that way. I'm guilty. Everybody wants to do it, but you still work. I mean, I have a full-time job and I have 3 other full-time jobs that aren't full-time, that aren't jobs that don't pay me anything type of thing.
Right.
You do them. You just got to be busy type of deal.
No, and it's funny, and I just hope we could get back to a point where people want to come to work and take pride in their job. Like COVID just destroyed pride in a lot of people's.
It's been I've noticed it more on a younger generation. It's really, really hurt. Like you can't get these people to work. You can't get them to show up. You can't. There's nothing you can do because it don't matter.
And nothing motivates them. That's
nothing.
I don't know what it would take to that point. Like
we're seeing a lot of talk of universal income.
Yeah, UBI. That's just great. That you can't motivate them. You can't get them to think.
Correct. Yeah, they want to read it on their phone and
critical. It's just critical thinking to me. Like, and everything goes back to me like critical thinking. Think outside the box. Because I heard that growing up my whole life. Think outside the box. Like, where there's a will, there's a way. All these cliches, and they all mean something.
It's true.
Like, I can't do this. Well, have you tried this? Well, no. Well, we have forklifts, we have cranes, we have magnets, we have pry bars, we have boards. There's a way we can do. I promise you, we can do it.
Yep. There's always something. The same thing. If you want to get it done, you'll get it done.
You'll get it done.
We tell my kids that all the time.
And that's a big thing that a lot of that has been lost. And like you talk about since COVID, it's a real thing, I think.
Which scares me, like I said, every year I see the same group of age of kids, the 18 to 19, 20-year-old. And it's just every year we just slip a little further away.
Everything I'm hearing is these younger ones are going to, I've been hearing good things about the next generation coming up. Whether that's true or not, I don't really know, but you hear like, someone that were a little younger going through the COVID stuff, they kind of realized, hey, this isn't all right. And it seems like it's growing a little bit better, a little more thinking. But that's my number one hope is just more thinking by people, it's a pet peeve of mine. Like if you don't need to make the first attempt, the first thought, that's all it takes.
So you're one of the first actual fans of the podcast we've had on.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite part of both podcasts? What made you a fan?
It was just something, because I do listen to a lot of podcasts just in general, a lot of racing stuff.
You're on the road a lot.
Yeah, I have.
You did tell me the first thing you told me was I've never listened to anything outside of a racing podcast.
Yep, I was very true. I'd always listen to racing podcasts, and I don't even know why. It was just like, oh yeah, I think it was the Abe Shaner episode. Yep. And I was like, yeah, I know Abe. I see him when I'm down at Motoplex and everything. I'll give it a listen. I really enjoyed it. And you said, oh yeah, try the Dr. Jose episode, and I really enjoyed that and got a lot out of it. I'll be honest, ever since then, so you said it, I know you were the same age. You're like, oh, I take vitamins, try and take better care of myself. And I was like,
I don't look it yet, but I'm getting there. I've lost about 10, 15 pounds. You can't see it, but.
So that's actually like, I'm like, well, why don't I take better care of myself? So since that episode, since you told me that, I did some research and found some vitamins I like, and I started eating a little bit better here lately. I'm trying to not eat because I'm on the road.
Right.
I don't have an easy access with my truck to like go park anywhere. So there's only a few places in town that I can realistically eat. So I've started, I'm subscribed to a meal service. So I get my food it gets shipped to me. I've been doing that for 2 weeks, man. I've never felt better day in, day out. I'm about a month into like vitamin stuff, but I don't get that dip down. It's crazy.
It's nuts how you feel. If you feel your body right, you can get through.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like I said, I'm 2 weeks into the hardcore and the meals and not eating out every day. But it was like one day I went to Taco John's and it was like 18, 19 bucks. I'm like, this is insane.
And you probably felt like shit.
Yeah, and it's just like, your guts rumbling later and everything. So no, I'm down like 10 pounds in a couple weeks, and I haven't done anything but just eat right.
And that all came from the podcast.
Yeah, I got it from the podcast just because I wanted to be better about it. And it just made the same thing. We go back to thinking. It just made me think like, why can't I can do this easily.
That's awesome to hear, actually.
Yeah.
I talk about it a lot. My guilty or my shameless or selfish. I'm selfish. My biggest enjoyment out of this podcast, the touching bases, I learn.
I
don't care who's here.
Yeah.
I just keep learning and learn. Every guest teaches me something about, and I just love it. To me, I enjoy it. Like we talked about ahead of time, I don't have questions. I'm listening to you, and I'm going to figure it out as we go.
No, that's how I feel too. Like I said, I'd never really talked to Abe while he was down at Motoplex or anything like that. And I'd seen him. Hey, like on the podcast, we talked for a few minutes and stuff like that. But just learning some of the background on all these people, like I didn't really know him or I'd never really talked to Josh. I'll be honest, Josh wasn't in favor of the racetrack when it came in. So I had this bad picture of Josh and it changed a lot
of people did.
But it just gives us another perspective on people and stuff like that. And it just kind of enlightens the community and stuff. And I'm really latched onto it. And I am excited every Thursday when you guys post this and everything like that. Yeah, it's on. Let's listen to it.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
There's a few of you out there that are like a diehard that actually like reach out and talk about it, which is cool. For all you out there, we want more of that.
Yeah. Share it on Facebook. Like it. Yeah.
Do you have any critiques for us on either one of the podcasts?
No, not really. I've really for what you guys are doing, like I enjoy it. You know how you split it up between the two? That works out really well.
Do you like that?
Yeah, I do. Because then you can just get more in depth and stuff. Because there's some stuff I'm sure some guests just don't want to really dive into.
We don't want to push anybody into a point they don't want to go.
This podcast is more guest centric.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
so
about
that really
what you're about as opposed to what our opinions are. Really, we want to know what your life is
and just showcase people around town. Like there's people that I had no idea.
I didn't know anything about Sam.
Yeah, I was Sam. I was just trying to think of his name from the Y and everything like that. That's really cool, that I didn't know anybody around here was that big into the powerlifting and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, him and Jay Belts and
Jay was awesome.
About Jay,
so
I listened to that one.
Jay is actually one of his daughters was married to one of my customers, and I donated stuff to the benefit. But I knew he was in a bad motorcycle wreck, but I didn't know anything else besides him on that. Yeah. So that was really eye opening. That was a really, really good episode. I enjoyed that one.
That was a good one. The one that's going to come out, we're recording this on Wednesday the 17th. So tomorrow, Chase Calkins will be dropping, so you won't hear this, whatever. But his is going to be, he's a research analyst for a meteorological research company. They do like government contracts, and his will be different. We'll see how that one comes about.
But either way, I'm excited just because it's just somebody new. Like it's just shedding light,
Well, and he's working for a company in Boston. Many people probably have no idea that we have somebody that does that kind of work here in town.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Yeah, everything's just so much bigger than people realize too. Just even though we're just small, I always say Norfolk's like a big, small town, but there's a lot of exposure and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I have gotten a little bit of flack that we haven't had any women on yet. They're on the list. We've had to push them back a little bit. One, we didn't want them in this room.
Yeah, it works. It works really well.
It works.
It works.
It's crude for us.
As you said, it gets a little hot.
Yeah, it's warm.
We get a little sweaty, so that does. Sometimes there is a little BO in here. So we try to keep it a little. But we've had Anita's been a co-host.
Yeah.
See, to me, that's not even like I haven't even processed that.
I didn't until you just said it. Nobody's told me that, but I didn't think about it.
So there are some scheduled already. We're already scheduled almost to the end of February. We're now recording a week ahead of time, which is I think
that's awesome. That helps you.
I talked to Zach, but when Zach started this wanting the touching base one, I was like, and I get he wanted the Norfolk area and the Northeast Nebraska, and you can still do the Northeast Nebraska, but like I want people to realize that our little corner of the world in Nebraska literally has feet that go international.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Like we have people that have done everything everywhere, internationally, nationally.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And the amount of context everybody has. And I know everybody's got the same amount of context, but we could get anybody. Like our little corner of the world has made a massive impact in the world, I believe.
And every guest we've had brings in more listeners.
Yep.
I believe that.
Which was the point.
Yeah.
I chose
almost by design.
I chose the guest list very specifically in the first 15, 16 episodes for that reason. Obviously, I told you we're at like 100, about averaging 100 listeners per episode. Abe's almost at the 200 mark. Andrew's at like the 130. Van and Kathy are right around the same
I haven't seen it from a while.
spot. But
I was a little nervous when I seen that one. It was a little over 3 hours. I was like, man, we'll see how this goes. And
we're at 2.5.
yeah, it doesn't, like we talked about it. I was nervous about an hour and a half.
Yeah, trust me, we do. Like I said, I'm not trying to boast us at all because you obviously answered very well. But I try to make sure we at least hit 2 hours. Usually, I'll throw in whatever I got to throw
Random
in.
questions or anything, just throw me off
Figure it
track.
out.
Yep.
Well, and usually I can usually account Vance for about 30 minutes of content at least. So that works out.
Sometimes I'm winded, or I got a lot of hot air sometimes, so it happens.
Got to get out once in a while.
Do you enjoy the useless assumptions one?
Yeah, I do. It's just a different outtake because like I said, I'm not very political. I don't really watch the news. So it just kind of opens up some stuff that I did not know what was going on. So it just kind of broadens my horizons on that. I'll be honest. I've followed a couple news places on Twitter and I get a little bit of information from there.
Awesome. So it's been a little beneficial for you. That's good. We haven't pushed that podcast as much.
No, there's some good stuff on there. And like I said, you can.
We will in the future. I wanted this one to kind of
be the main thing.
we'll
You know,
get off. No, just get off the
ground.
The ground before we start throwing out the stuff we throw out.
Yeah,
on the other one.
right. Get a good following that can back you up there for a little while.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you want to plug or anything else you want to?
No, probably the biggest thing is, and I kind of wanted to say this earlier, is, how we're all small businesses and stuff like that. I'd like people to realize that in the time and age we're at, buy local. Well, I know you guys talk about it. Buy local,
We do. Probably not
think of the
enough,
small
but we
guy,
do.
and that's what, I'd really try that. I'll be honest. I bought a snowblower here a couple weeks ago and I had to really think like, okay, I don't want to go to Menards because they don't sell service.
Yep.
If something happens, the place I bought it from is going to take care of me.
Yep.
Just stuff like that, really be like-minded, and especially with this year, we really don't know what it's all going to bring. I want people to think of the small businesses, we sponsor softball teams. I do sponsor a racing series. There's a lot of small things that the big corporations don't do.
Yeah.
Just be mindful of that.
And it's not just that. It's when you're buying local, I'm going to try to say this in the best light. When you're buying local, also try to buy from somebody who will keep the money in town.
Correct. Yep.
Who will also buy local.
Yep. That's
I
what
like
we're at.
that.
Keeping the money in the same, city.
Yeah, I hate that. I'll be honest. And I know people shop around on cars and stuff like that. I hate it when I see like Sid Dillon on Fremont or, like place up in South Dakota. It's like, you took our money from here in town and you went up there,
About mine in Pierce, Nebraska.
That's just it. Like we try and buy all our vehicles within, because obviously I deal with a lot of dealerships. We kind of spread the love, and it's not like we buy new vehicles every week, but like we spread the love a little bit, but like we do business with people that do business with us.
Yeah, it's hard in my area of business to, I can only buy so many houses, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I've got a lot of people I know in real estate. Well, I had to choose one for
very
each
tough.
one. But I try to spread the love too on certain things, restaurants, things that you can go to multiple times.
It's hard. It's kind of, again, it's one of those give and takes and push and pulls, and it's something that we all fight with because convenience is super easy.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to fight convenience, and
And
I'm
price
guilty.
sometimes,
I'm
right?
guilty of going to Amazon. It's like,
Oh yeah.
I'm at home.
Well,
I need
some of
this.
that stuff you can't get. Like this, what I just bought here, I can't get at a local store.
Yeah. And I get that, and then some things it's like, oh, I could run to wherever. And I understand some of the stores, they're not local per se, but they hire local people.
Right.
And so I look at it that way also, but it's just really easy. I'm just sitting on my couch.
You're
I
like,
just
oh
need
yeah, I need
this.
this.
Oh my God. I'm just going to
be here Friday.
And I got it in 2 days. It's
We're all
really
guilty of it.
difficult that
It's a
way.
convenience
It's hard
thing.
to fight.
When we moved right before Christmas, I started buying the bulk of what we would normally buy our groceries, like your produce and any kind of what I always call the outside aisles, your meats, your produce, your whatever.
Bakery.
Somewhat bakery. And then some of your other items I've been buying at HealthWorks downtown. Local
You
business.
talked about that the other day.
Yeah. We buy all of our produce. It's all organic. Because did I talk on the podcast about how if you let's go buy a pack of strawberries at the store that's not organic and they juiced them and squeezed them out, that
You did that on with you and Ryan. We're talking about
did
that.
I?
Yep.
If you squeezed them out, you could reapply the pesticides to the next field out of the strawberries they just juiced.
That's crazy.
Scared the piss out of me when I heard that.
Yeah, that's insane.
Now, I don't know what the truth was to that. That was Gary Brecka.
It's probably not far off. I mean, the fruit industry is a little bit different, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, I've been following the carnivore diet-ish type thing, so the berries are what they say you can eat on there. So I've been getting those from Health. Like,
that's cool.
If you ever have the chance, go check out HealthWorks and see what they got. Make sure they don't have the prices on the stuff. So if you have a budget, you need to pick and choose what you get. But most of their produce is about the same you're going to spend or less for organic than you'll spend at Walmart or Hy-Vee.
See, that's the crazy thing with trying to be healthy. It's crazy how expensive it can be, on some of that stuff. You got to you got to really shop, or, like this. Like, I didn't know about that down there.
You just got to cut out the shit you were maybe eating before. If you were buying, I don't know.
You got to get rid of the
fluff,
if
you want to call it that.
the fluff and the anything with preservatives and stuff like that.
Because then you're going to cut out some of that money.
But if you get your main like your proteins can be super cheap to buy. I talk about it a lot. I took my first trip there. This is a shame, huh? Oh yeah, you talk. Yeah, it's a shameless plug. I bring them up all the time, and I mean, I go down there. They have nothing to do with this podcast, but I go to Burrish all the time.
If you haven't been there,
it's worth it. Yeah. It's really good. Me and my brother go down there all the time, and we'll buy. You can buy whole rolls of chuck roast. It's a 20-pound chuck roast for $4 a pound, $4.50 a pound. Make good steaks out of that. We cut them up into steaks and we'll cook them, and so you can eat really well. And they're like the steaks that we cut. 2 steaks is it's almost a pound and a half in big 2 steaks. It's 2 steaks is 2 meals for me and my brother, basically. So it can happen. You can feed yourself really well. Hamburger, if you buy hamburger in bulk from wherever, I mean, you can get it cheap.
My wife's definitely got that down. She bought a whole cow and a whole pig.
The best way to do it.
He talks about it a lot.
Man, we got so much friggin'
It's
meat.
the best way to do it. As long as you have the freezer space, in my opinion, it's the only way to do it.
And you got to get it through a lot of people don't realize, it's not everybody, but some people they don't understand when you buy a quarter or a half or a full cow, they think it's all going to be steaks. No, you're getting a quarter of
so much stuff.
You're getting a quarter of these steaks. You're getting a quarter of these steaks. You're getting a quarter of the roast. You're getting a quarter of the hamburger. Everything gets split up.
And you can also get, if you're big into hamburger, you can get some of that ground in a hamburger.
Yeah.
We have whole cow hamburger. So much. It's really good.
We've taken some cows in that, whole cows for whole cow hamburger. Oh my God. That's good. That's good eating right there.
Yeah. Since we moved, we haven't ate out once.
Really?
I've cooked every meal at home.
That's awesome.
I'm a terrible cook. That's my problem. And that's another thing. Like,
you can cook meat.
Yeah, I can cook meat. And I can do basic stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm
a pretty good. I mean, mom taught me well. I'm a pretty good cook, and I've taught myself some things. But it's not hard. I mean, even just following the carnivore diet is not difficult.
Yeah.
Meat, eggs, berries.
See, I'm trying to be a little more conscious of that, just because now, like I said, I'm feeling way better, and I want to keep going that way.
Even just moving, like what do you eat the most of? Like, what's like your go-to?
I ate a lot of cardboard pizza, Tombstone pizza.
Oh my God, Tombstone is not my favorite. Jack's is my favorite.
See, I'm not a big Jack's fan. I like Tombstone pizza. My wife will try and buy some other ones and be like, no, you just need to eat Tombstone. I don't care what's on sale. Buy Tombstone.
I don't have an alternative for that quick and easy.
Yeah,
I'm the Jack's guy. That's like, I can't eat any of the other pizzas except for Jack's.
Yeah, she'll try and be fancy and stuff like that and get these other better ones.
DiGiorno's and stuff.
Yeah,
no, get that out of here. I don't want that.
DiGiorno's not worth it.
No, not anymore.
I need that. I'm gonna put it on my smoker, and I need it just crispier than, like, I need to break my teeth on it when I eat it.
But I've been eating like a lot of steak and eggs in the morning, which sounds expensive. It's really not. If you buy a whole cow.
So we have chickens, so eggs are free.
Well, there you go. See, you got your own eggs.
Oh,
good
and
there.
Fresh eggs are they're much really better.
That's what we do. We got two or three families that go to daycare that have chickens, and we just buy their eggs.
Oh, I was selling them off on the tool truck there for a little while. At one point in time, we had so many eggs.
It's awesome.
So
much better.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Fresh eggs they're yellow. They're bright yellow. They taste so much better.
Bright, almost like an orange, like a milky orange. It's so good.
I love fresh. I love farm eggs.
That was a whole tangent we just got on.
Yeah,
that really exploded.
I don't want to take care of chickens, but I want somebody else to take care of chickens. So
my kids take care of them. I don't do nothing with the animals. If anybody actually knows me, I am not an animal guy, but the wife and the kids, I'll
work on cars. I won't do.
Exactly.
But I do love. I do love that you took something from the podcast and
Yeah,
are
it's
trying
really,
to live
yeah,
it.
it's all been awesome. You know, I really feel like I'm going to try and keep this moving. Like I said, I'm down like 10 pounds in 2 weeks.
And you feel good.
I feel really good, actually. So yeah, I want to keep rolling like this and feel better. I'm actually excited. You know, come race season, that's my biggest deterrent. It's like, man, I'm tired. I don't want to go down there and work on the car after a hot day. But like, I'm excited, you know, to keep getting healthier on some of this sense. Like I said, my bank account looks a heck of a lot better too from not eating out.
Isn't it crazy? Nowadays, eating out, and you talked about the expense of eating healthy, but it's really, if you add up all the times maybe you ate out, it's probably not that.
Oh, it's insane. Because my wife makes fun of me because there'd be days, I have one specific day and she knows it's that day. So I'll eat breakfast at the house and then I'm in a town with a Casey's and I'll get second breakfast there because in the other town I'm in, I really don't like what they have for lunch there. So I'll kind of eat a smaller lunch and then I'm in another town later that I might grab something in. So yeah, I was stopping at a gas station 2, 3, maybe 4 times a day to get food. And it's like,
yep.
Yeah.
That's that 10 pounds right there.
Dude, it's crazy. Yeah. And I don't drink as much pop anymore. I try to eat or drink something healthy in the morning. So
yeah, I got rid of full pop. It's been almost a year now.
I don't think I can totally give it away. I've been pretty impressed with it.
So I drink Zevia. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
No, I haven't.
You can give it a try. It's gonna be a shock for you at first, but
I believe that.
I got Kai turned on it. She was a Dr. Pepper freak forever.
I see. I was every morning outside drinking Dr. Pepper.
I got her.
Dr. Pepper's it's my killer. I will go. I like it. I don't know if I've said this or not, but I may have told you every Lent, I basically give up pop for Lent because I'm a Catholic and you got to give some up. So I give up pop and I can do it. It's brutal.
So you should do.
And I'll go like 6 months, 7 months. I'll go all the way to like August or something. And then I'll have that first Dr. Pepper and it's fucking over.
So during Lent, you should just drink this Dr. Zevia, and then you won't even like.
No, because I don't want to do that.
But then you won't even like Dr. Pepper afterwards. Trust me, you won't.
I drink.
It'll be too sweet for you.
I already drink the Bangs and the Rains, and I get the caffeine.
Get those out too.
I can't. That's not gonna happen.
I guarantee
That's not gonna happen. Caffeine. Sorry,
it's got caffeine in it.
Small steps.
It's got caffeine in it.
Yeah, but
it'd be tough to totally give up like an energy. I don't drink a ton of energy drink. I used to drink a lot of energy drinks, but I drink about maybe one a week.
I'm gonna need that DeMar Hamlin before I give those up.
Jesus. Well, anyway, so if you want to try it, HealthWorks does give discounts if you buy in bulk, and it's a little more expensive at Hy-Vee. You can get it at Hy-Vee too, but it's all
it's a powder.
No, it's a canned pop, but it's natural sweetener. It's not an artificial sweetener. Natural sweetener, no sugars.
Still pop.
It's not. It's 0 calories, 0. Trust me, I have probably lost more weight just cutting out sugary drinks.
That's what I'm sure. Like all 10 of my pounds is probably from. Is just not.
It's
drinking.
very carbonated.
You lose a lot of weight. Taking sugar drinks out.
Yeah, it's very carbonated. So like if you get bloated on it, you just pour it into a cup instead. Let it do its thing. But I thoroughly enjoy it. If I drink pop, that's what I'm drinking. So
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, I got them. Well, sometime next day you come over, we'll have a little whiskey and Zevia. We'll get Cam over too, and we'll have
try it out.
Yeah,
live reaction.
I'm not gonna have the whiskey.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll get Cam on again on
maybe some tequila and some Zevia, something.
Lime. We'll get you like the lime, the lemon lime.
Zevia. There you go.
All right.
Okay, tangent stopped. So you enjoy the podcast, which is good. I think that's great. That's how you got on here. You reached out to me. And I'm like, I didn't even that'd be cool. We're probably not going to get another racer on here. So
yeah, never. And it's not like I ever thought of like when you told me you're like, oh yeah, like be on there. I'm like,
to make it clear, he didn't ask to be on the podcast. I asked him to be on the podcast.
Yeah, because I would never have been like, I don't have that. I mean, yeah, I have racing and stuff like that, but would being the entrepreneur and everything like that. But I'd never contemplated being on here or anything. But no, I'd tell everybody to go listen to all the episodes. There's some great information and there's good people around Norfolk. And I'd never heard any of these stories had it not been for this.
Yeah, and we've got some good ones coming up too. So I mean, listen, share, give Cam a good listen. Let's get him up there in the listens when this comes out, and we'll promote the heck out of it. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, this was a good time. I really enjoyed it.
We're gonna end it here and end on a good note.
Yep. Thanks.
I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah, it was like I said, I was a little nervous when we sat down. For anybody in the future, I was pretty nervous when I sat down, but nope, it's pretty organic.
We make it pretty easy.
Yeah, it's not too hard.
We don't ask too many hard questions.
We don't bite.
Yeah.
I try not to bite anyways.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, man.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you guys next time.